You're going to do it?
No.
Okay. So being that it is 6 p.m. and we do have a quorum, I'd like to call the City of Menasha Common Council meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
If we could have the roll, please.
Alderman Nichols.
Here.
Alderman Taylor.
Here.
Alderman Sevenik.
Here.
Alderman Langdon. Alderman Schmidt.
Here.
Alderman Tom Grady.
Here.
Alderman Ted Grady.
Here.
Alderman Rapella.
Here.
All are present with the exception of Alderman Langdon.
I don't know if you heard that Alderman Langdon will be joining us a little late.
Yes, I did hear that.
Okay. So item D is the temporary suspension of the rules. Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mayor. At this time, I'll move that we temporarily suspend the rules of the Common Council and the mayor so that we could use our electronic devices for this teleconference.
Second.
A motion and a second. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Item E is a public hearing on the proposed City of Menasha budget for 2021. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on the proposed budget?
Hi, Sandra, the Bill Taylor, 545 Broad Street. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As you know, I am the only one from the public that attended any of the budget meetings. It's unfortunate that more members of the general population are not interested because they're probably going to be the first ones to complain when their taxes go up. So I feel like if I'm here, I can complain. I also want to say it is unfortunate that as it stands now, the tax levy will go up. And from the past 3 meetings, it doesn't appear that there is anyone really interested in reducing that levy. I totally understand that if you reduce the levy, that may hinder your ability to raise taxes the following year. That's always been a catch-22. But you have to also remember that we are the highest taxed municipality in the Fox Valley. And the biggest complaint when people are marketing Menasha is the high tax rate, especially compared to the low town taxes that are now village. So I think it's imperative, especially considering we're not coming out of our debt. By the time the steam plant debt is paid, we will then be burdened by the public works facility debt. That's what, 40-year burden to be put on the taxpayers. So we're never going to climb out of this hole. Other communities can continue to increase their tax levy by increased property. We are landlocked, so we have no growth corridor. Our only obligation is to really cut back. And while it's nice to be everything for everyone and provide all the services imaginable, we have to get tough, and you really have to get serious. I'm going to throw some things out there. I know they'll get shot down because I was even surprised that the 2 amendments that were made were related to typographical errors, and one of those was a slight reduction, and we couldn't even get a unanimous consent on that. So obviously that tells me that the council's not interested in cutting anything. But here goes. First, I would like to transfer from TIF 10 and TIF 12, which will not affect the levy, $5,000 from each one that are designated to the regional partnership. That total of $10,000 I would like allocated toward the debt of the joint municipal court. That is what the city of Neenah has pledged to put down that debt, which exceeds $300,000. We have to start somewhere. That would leave $2,000 for your regional partnership. I would like to remove $5,000 from community development facade grant. That should still leave $5,000. I would like to remove, I can read my notes right, $2,500 from community development designated to the Wisconsin Bike Federation, and that would be zero. It would leave nothing for that. I would like to remove $20,000 from civic commemorations, which is designated toward banners, leaving $9,250 in that budget, and it does not affect the fireworks. I do want to note that in neighboring communities that have a business district, Appleton, Neenah, those bids pay for the banners, pay for grants for facade improvements. If Menasha really needs to get a bid developed in the downtown, it would first shift a lot of these expenses off the taxpayer, and the business owners down there take responsibility. It has to be something done. I know they tried it in the past. The business owners aren't interested, but it really isn't the citizens' responsibility to support the downtown. Unlike we're not supporting other businesses that are not located in the downtown. I would also like to remove $50,000 from the library's budget for new materials. That would still leave them $150,000. Now, these are the two tough ones that I know won't fly. I would like to remove $90,000 from the senior center, which would leave $16,845. The city of Neenah allocates $15,600 toward the YMCA to do senior center programming. It's a tough choice. But again, we have to be looking at what is imperative to the city of Menasha taxpayers. As I mentioned during the budget hearings, I would like to see a request for proposals from legal firms to represent the attorney services, which will be a reappointment in April. Therefore, I would like to remove $100,000 from the attorney's budget, which would still leave $80,000. And that $80,000 exceeds what the Village of Fox Crossing budgets for their legal services. If you add that up, it's over $550,000, which would be roughly 50 cents off the tax levy, not including the tip of dollar amounts. I do have a question regarding the Valley Transit budget. Part of their budget, and it's not separated out, goes toward remodeling their building. Their building is owned by the city of Appleton, and I'm wondering why Menasha is responsible for paying for a city of Appleton building. This is not the buses or the services provided, but it's the actual structure. I think that should be the city of Appleton's responsibility. They own the building. I don't think other municipalities for remodeling locker rooms and those type of things, the city of Menasha should be responsible. So again, I know I'll be lucky if anybody cuts $5,000, but we have to start getting tough. It's very unfortunate that the city's in this predicament, but at some point, somebody's got to bite the bullet. It's not popular. And again, I know it's easy because nobody else is there to complain except me. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to comment on the budget this evening? Seeing no one else, we'll move on to the report of department heads. Director McKinney, I believe, is here.
I am here.
There you are. I don't see you, but you are. I hear you.
All right.
Mayor, I just want to thank Sandra for being the one person from the community that attended those budget meetings and was the one person that showed up for the public hearing. I think that's incredible.
Director McKinney?
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Just let me know if you can see our, okay. I'm going to go through a slideshow here. So I just want to give you an update, and this update is from our most recent report, which was completed on November 10th, mixed in with some new and updated information. So right now we have 1,212 positive cases to date, 5,545 negative test results, 1,077 recovered individuals. We have 67 hospitalizations, and this is significantly up within the last few months. We have 122 active cases and 13 fatalities, and this is as of yesterday. So what we're seeing in this previous 2-week period is that, and I'm sorry, this should be changed to 10/28 to 11/10, is that we've increased our case counts in the last 2 weeks from 228 to 241. So while we took a dip in the last 2-week period, we have increased from 1,159.3 cases per 100,000 population to 1,376.4 per 1,000 population. And that's the standard metrics that the state uses for all of the municipalities and health departments across the state that we have, or counties. What you can look at this like is we have about 116 cases per 10,000 that are known. And this is an undercount because when we test, generally people are symptomatic or close contacts. In the last week, the state of Wisconsin has implemented a new classification as critically high, which is over 1,000 cases per 100 population. So you can see in the last 2 weeks, we have the 241 cases, our case rate 1,376.4, and our critically high burden. And I'm sorry if I misspoke. We would have 137, almost 138 per 10,000 population diagnosed positive cases. Where we want to be is in the low zone, and we know that that is a case rate that is equal to 10 per 100,000. It means that there's not a lot of circulating virus. So if you look at the city of Menasha, we're critically high, along with the city of Appleton, Calumet County, Outagamie County, Winnebago County, and the state of Wisconsin. And in this chart in particular, the counties do not include the cities in their count. So we're critically high. The state itself is growing, as well as Outagamie County. And this is what our case rate, trend, and burden look like by 2-week periods. And if we go back, when we first started to gather metrics, we had our first case on April 1st. And then you can see we started, and I think this was just after the stay-at-home orders, but we were in the very low area for most of the summer, actually. And then we saw a little increase right after. There's going to be a little lag right after the holiday, and then we started it to go up, and then it trended down a bit. And then just before school, we saw the high trajectory that did not come down for many weeks. And then kind of peaked up around October 7th to the 20th, and then came down a little bit in the last two-week periods, and then now we're up again. So we have been firmly in this red zone, this critically high zone, for quite some time. And this is a look at the age groups. So through October 10th, we're seeing that our older folks, about 20%, it's staying about the same as our cumulative average. So we're still seeing a pretty good distribution there of people across the age groups that have COVID-19. So one of the things you want to remember with the age group that's under 20 is that very young children tend to be milder cases or asymptomatic, meaning without symptoms. So it's generally an undercount in the young group. They can still transmit the disease. And in recent CDC reports, we found that they can transmit the disease as adults do, not as overtly ill. So sometimes we don't even know that they're transmitting the disease. Our weekly summary data, we've been tracking the positive cases of children, especially since we work so closely with the school district, and about 113 children have tested positive. But as I said, that is an undercount. Our case incidence per day is 77.5. Our 7-day average test positivity rate is 36.4. And just to put this in perspective, we want to be at a goal of less than 5% positivity. So what that means is the cases that we do, positive and negatives, we look at how many, what percent come back positive, and it's 36.4. We're doing adequate testing. In fact, our goal is 28. So we have 52.1 average number of tests per day. And yet we're still getting this high positivity rate. If you've been following the news, the governor of Michigan has put in some very stringent orders, and their positivity rate for their state is at about 13%. So we're very, very high. We have been able to confirm all cases within 24 hours. So those that have the case, we were able, and to change that, to do that, contacting of them. And then we were also able, through our positive cases, to reach all of our close contacts. But we have a very busy staff on board. And I never know quite how to report on the hospitals because it does change, and it is a lagging indicator. In other words, if you have a high case count now, in a couple weeks, you're going to see hospitalizations and deaths as a result. And the concerning piece that we have right now is just the hospital capacity. Because of COVID-19, they are concerned about treating people with other problems such as, heart disease, lung diseases, and other things that they would normally be seeing people for strokes, for example. And right now, there's about a 10% immediate bed availability in our Fox Valley region, Hospital Emergency Response Coalition region. And that's compared to a similar measure. I think it's probably a little bit better on a statewide level, but in our area, we're pretty high. As a result, the governor has put out these very high mitigation strategies, or strategies that we can use in this high zone. And you've heard that he did issue a public health advisory, which is saying no gathering outside of the house of your household. So he's recommending, please don't go out of your home without a mask. Do not gather in groups. Make sure that your household is who you celebrate holidays with. I know that's very tough, but as I explained, this is a very efficient and highly transmissible disease. So it's easily transmitted, and some people they say upwards of 40% do not have symptoms at all and can transmit it to someone who might be more vulnerable for the disease. There's a series of holiday recommendations on our website, the Menasha Health Department website. We've undertaken some recommendations for the public health departments in the Northeast region. There's 12 health departments and a tribal health center. So the city health departments and the county and the tribes have joined together and really put out some public health alerts for people so that we can make sure that people are aware. Our concern is, of course, after every holiday, if people gather and don't pay attention to the measures or the measures are relaxed, that we have additional cases and we have additional hospitalizations. I want to let everybody know there are testing sites. We have Appleton North open Monday through Wednesday. Sunnyview Expo Center is open Monday through Saturdays. Christ the Rock Thursday through Saturdays, and Nina Clinic, Theta Care Nina Clinic is open. And UW Oshkosh has also now set up a site for rapid, they call it antigen tests. There are some situations where it needs to be confirmed by a more stringent gold standard test called a PCR, but it gives results very quickly and it's helpful. So if people would like to go to that site, it should also be on our website. So everybody, you stop the spread. Please help us to suppress this disease and preserve our hospital capacity. We are certainly challenged right now. And this is something we're all going to have to work together to address. Thanks, everybody. And I hope you have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Are you there, Mayor?
I am here, but,
Okay, let's move.
well, hold on just a second because I had to change something on my screen and it took a
Okay.
second to do. But, so I do have the agenda then up on the screen for us, and we are now on item 2, the minutes and communications.
All right,
Does anyone-
Mayor.
Go ahead,
At
Stan.
this time, I'll move that we receive minutes A through F and communications G through K.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
I'll let the clerk decide which one she wants to take. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I have discussion. Item C, the budget review minutes. I did submit some corrections to the clerk for both the November 5th and the November 11th meeting.
Okay, and those should technically be approved. So we'll put the revised ones on the next meeting to approve them.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Aye. Seeing no opposed, motion carries. Item G is public comments on any matter of concern to the city. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak at this time?
Sanders, the Bill Taylor, 545 Broad Street. I guess it's me again. 2 items from the budget. I can't believe I actually overlooked one of them. Is the Strong Neighborhoods Program. There's $300,000 budgeted. I don't know if this is already TIP money or if a portion of this is from the general fund, the tax levy. If it was up to me, I'd eliminate it entirely because it's been abused. I want to bring to your attention if anything can be removed from that, or if stipulations can be put in place or make it a payback loan. You know, you stay there 5 years and then it's forgivable. Things have to get changed with this program because right now it's just a big black hole. Secondly, regarding in the TIF, under the funding source, it has TIF 8, $100,000. That they're using TIF 8, which I believe is Headwaters, $100,000. And I'm wondering what that $100,000 is earmarked for, if anyone can let me know. Then, regarding the proposed wages for the aldermen, again, I have no problem with the aldermen receiving raises. I believe Stan Sevenich was right in saying that this should be something that you don't have to be voting on all the time. It should have been done a long time ago. Just a simple cost of living wage, like all non-represented employees get. But my question is this the way it reads is that it's effective as of January? Is that true, or is this effective with each new election? Because it doesn't read that way. Then the last thing I just want to mention, under administration is a resolution regarding the C1 business district. I'm curious, I know that something similar to this was brought up in the spring, and other communities brought this up in response to COVID. Is this a temporary resolution in response to COVID, or is this a permanent situation? I'm just curious about the timing, and I'm curious about how landmarks would be able to control this with banners, and the NENA ordinance was really detailed on what you can and cannot place on the sidewalk. They can't have banners, they can't have pop-up tents, they can't have, things infringing vision control, 10 feet from a fire hydrant, so on and so forth. And there aren't really any details in this ordinance. So I hope that that can be addressed. Again, I really encourage somebody to make some kind of adjustment to the budget. I just think it's sad that we just continue to have a tax increase, especially this year when people have lost their jobs and people are looking for food pantries and then have to come up with more dollars. Thank you.
Seeing no one else, we'll move on to the consent agenda. There are 4 items: the common council minutes, the yard waste drop-off site, the insurance offering for employees, and the cost of living salary changes for employees. Does anyone
Mayor,
wish to have?
let's separate them all. Separate them all.
Okay. Do we have a motion for the common council minutes at this point?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the common council minutes of, do I have my mic on?
Yes.
Yep. Sorry. Of 10/9/20 and 11/2/20.
I'll second that.
The motion and a second. Clerk Crokamer, I think there was a small revision in 1 or 2 spots.
I believe that was just for the budget meeting minutes.
Those are just the budget meetings? Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Board of Public Works recommendation, do we have a motion?
Eric, can you bring up the next agenda? Can you roll that ahead?
That would be
Sure.
Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
Mark, when you were moving around, we couldn't hear you. If you could just stay still and say it.
Oh, okay. Number 2 is for keeping the brush and yard waste drop site at Buckman's for the year 2021.
I'll second that, Mayor.
The motion and a second. Is there discussion? Did you have discussion, James, or not?
No,
No?
I was
Okay.
ready to.
Okay, if we get a roll call vote then, please.
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenich,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Repella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Mayor, that's $6,000 savings out of the budget, correct?
So this doesn't change the budget. You'd have to make a motion during the budget meeting in order to do that.
Actually,
And-
more than that, but
Adam
Yeah.
can get you the exact numbers when we get to that point.
Okay, I talked to Adam today and he said it was about 6,000. Thank you.
It's in that general range, yes. Item 3, do we have a motion?
Yes,
Alderman
Mayor.
Batty?
Excuse me. I'd like to make the motion for accepting the employees' insurance offerings for 2021. The health insurance coverage with WIA for year 2 with a 8.9% premium increase. Dental insurance coverage with no changes to premiums. And vision insurance coverage with superior vision with no changes to coverage or premiums for 2 years.
Second by Alderman Nichols.
So motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Repella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Item 4 is the cost of living salary changes for non-reps. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion for the 2% cost of living wage salary increase for non-representative employees as indicated in the 2021 budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I have discussion.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just so everyone realizes that even though this is a 2% increase, we did see what the police union was offering. And even though this is a 2% increase, there are step increases that go in with this. We found that out when Alderman Repella questioned a part of the budget earlier, and Adam got back to him. And the reason it increased so much because the individual was hired, got a raise, and then got a step increase. So although the way it says like it's almost across the board, it's not across the board. And I want all the council to understand that some people get much more than just the 2%, and it's very generous. And also too, I forget which council member brought it up. It might have been Alderman Taylor. You know, one individual making $90,000 and getting a 2% increase, and someone making $35,000 is a big difference. So in the future, I would like to see something, a formula, a much different one in which an increase of maybe 2% for someone that makes up to 50,000, and then maybe 1.5% for somebody that makes 50,000 on upwards to, you know, the $100,000 range. So I'd rather see that in the future.
Alderman Repella?
Oh, thank you very much. I second that, Alderman Sevenick. But I was wondering, are there step increases involved in our alderman pay increases?
There are
If
not.
everybody else gets one. Don?
You could potentially set it up that way. I'm not sure exactly how you would, but that's not the way the ordinance is written.
Randy, you wouldn't want to do that. Otherwise, James and I would be making like 100,000 a year.
You guys are well worth it. Okay, thank you.
Did you have something as well, Ted, or?
Well, I kind of did, but I don't know if I want to drag into this debate about 2% for a $100,000 employee versus a 2% for a $35,000 employee when it's based on non-representative employees. So Alderman Sevenick, maybe we'll have a workshop and there are formulas, and it's not laid out as how you described what you were saying.
Okay, with that, I don't see anyone else. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon. I'm sorry to catch that.
Mark, we couldn't hear you. Could you turn your mic back on? There we go.
Aye.
Thank you.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Rapella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Item J is action items. The first item is the accounts payable and payroll for October 30th through November 12th. Is there a motion? Alderman
Yes,
Nichols?
thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the accounts payable and payroll for the term of October 30th through November 12th, 2020 in the amount of $689,145.04.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If we could have a roll call vote then, please.
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Rapella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Item 2 is the beverage operators license applications. Do we have a motion? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move to approve the beverage operators license applications for the 2019 through 2021 licensing period as listed under approved in the clerk's memo dated November 16th, 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Do you have discussion, Randy, or?
No.
Okay. Could we have a roll call vote then, please?
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Rapella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Item L is ordinances and resolutions. The first is Resolution 34. Do we have a motion? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move to approve Resolution 3420, authorizing representative to file applications for financial assistance from the State of Wisconsin Environmental Improvement Fund as introduced by Mayor Merkus and recommended by the Administration Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I believe Melanie is here this evening if anyone has any questions. Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Rapella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Item 2 is Resolution 35. It's a resolution levying taxes for the purpose of paying operating expenses for 2021. Do we have a motion? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move for the approval of R 3520, a resolution levying taxes for the purpose of paying the operating expenses for the year 2021 for the city of Menasha.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, this is the point if you have questions or would like to propose amendments that you could do so. Did you have
Mayor?
something, Vicky, or?
Yes,
Since
I do.
Becky did the motion,
I
we should
do.
let her.
I have some right off the bat.
I was just wondering if you could move the screen down.
Sure.
Thank you.
So Mayor, earlier today, we approved to go to Buckland's to do our disposal. As Alderman Taylor said, there's some savings. So at this time, I received a memo from both Adam and Jennifer. I'd like to make a motion to reduce 266-1028-543-10.08. That's the FICA portion, which is $2,660. That's a reduction. Also, 266-1028-543-29-05, which is a reduction of $4,400. 266-1028-543-2106. That's a reduction of $660. The net reduction for that, and for the Clerk Krautkramer, Jennifer can give you these numbers, or Adam. That net reduction is $6,400.
Should each one be individually
No,
seconded, Dan?
no, because they're really salary things.
Okay.
So we're just taking all the FICA, you know, and some other areas. Also, along with that is 543-10-01. Again, FICA, 3,385. And then 625-1028-534-29-05, which is a reduction of 5,600. And then the last of this is 625-102-542-21-06 of $840. That net reduction is $8,145. That total reduction is $14,545. And I would be looking for a second. And basically, we pretty much.
I'll second it, but I want to check the addition numbers, please.
These, let me see.
I can add them up again, and you were off.
Yeah, no, they were provided by Jennifer. She's our accountant.
Well, I can add them up a little differently then. 2,600 plus 4,400
no,
plus 660.
Randy, wrong number. Wrong number. You're not listening. 2,660 was the first number.
Okay.
4,400.
400. And then 660.
Correct. Which is
600.
400. 6,400. And then the next reductions, and we took this action just a little while ago, so it's going to happen regardless. This is just an accounting thing.
Right, but I want to make sure we have our numbers correct.
Right.
When you I'll do your second one for you.
Okay,
The 3,385 plus 5,600 plus $840 comes to 9,825. You didn't have that.
The net reduction there, what I was provided was 8,145. Jennifer, do you want to chime in?
She needs to re-add her numbers.
This
Can
is
you take-
Adam. I can chime in here. If you look, it'd be those for the 2106, which is the is the management account. That would be an add. So that's 2,660 deduct,
The last one? Okay,
400
yes.
deduct. They add back the 660 that we're gonna be paying Buckland's in addition to what we had in the budget. That's when
Okay.
you get your net reduction of 6,400. And then the
Gotcha.
same thing for the, so
Sorry,
what-
Randy. If you see what I have, there's a little negative before the dollar sign, and I wasn't sure if that meant a negative 660 or not. So,
Okay, got it.
and I'll send this to you.
Okay, thank you, because I'm all about adding numbers correctly.
Actually, Adam, could you send this to all the council members right now?
Sure.
So there's a motion on the floor right now that would reduce the 266 account, $6,400, and the 625 account, $8,145. Just noting that the 266 account does affect the levy, the 625 does not. Any other discussion on that amendment?
All I just wanted to say was we took that action just a little while ago. Alderman Langdon made that motion, seconded by Alderman Taylor. This was the Buckland's decision that we made.
Anyone
Mayor,
have
what was your first number? The 6,600 and what?
$6,400?
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, seeing no further discussion, if we could have a roll call vote on that?
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Repella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Mayor, also I have a few more.
Sure.
So the other night when we were talking with Jennifer's budget, she had brought up the assessors and we have basically the appraisal cost comes around $60,000. She wasn't sure if there would be an increase next year, so she added 10. And I think that's a little too much. And at this time, and this is on page 35 for the rest of the council. This is 100-04-02-1, 513-21-09 under appraisers, and I want to reduce that by just 4,000. We'll keep the extra 6,000 in there in case there is an increase. I don't think it's going to be more than that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Did you have discussion, Randy?
No, thank you.
Becky? Discussion?
No, thanks.
Okay. Seeing no discussion, if we could have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Repella.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Mayor, if I could continue.
Sure.
I don't know the page and I apologize to the city council for this. It's under civic commemoration. I believe that budget is a little thick. I believe we've got leftover money also, but I do think we should be doing banners and stuff like that. But I do want to reduce that by 2,000. I'm sorry, I don't have the account number. Mayor seems to have found it.
Yep, it's on page 171. The fire, Jennifer, do you remember what the fireworks contract is? I don't have that with me right now.
Did you say 17?
Offhand,
171.
Thank you, Randy.
I think the fireworks contract will still fit within that 27,000, but it'll be close, but that's okay.
I'm making just a small cut,
Sure.
and that amount, I believe I said, was 2,000.
Was there a second? I didn't catch it if there was.
Second by Randy.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yes, I have discussion.
Go
Is
ahead.
that in addition to the 2,000 that was reduced at the last budget hearing?
Yes,
Did
I
we
don't
reduce?
remember any reduction.
There was a motion at the last workshop to reduce that account by 2,000.
And that passed.
It did.
And
Okay.
thank you, Becky. Who made that motion?
You did.
Okay, then I'm sorry. I'm probably reading my old notes. So I will withdraw, you guys, if I could. I'm sorry. I'm reading my old notes.
Good. I was gonna
I
nay,
didn't realize I had done that already.
yeah.
That's okay.
Thank you, Becky.
You're
If I could-
welcome.
If I could
Jen-
move on.
Hold on before we move on, Stan. So we
Sure.
had a motion for the postage in the clerk's budget, the fireworks. Was there anything else, Jen?
And then the addition in the code enforcement.
Code enforcement, yeah.
So there was 2 reductions and 1 addition. They netted out to minus 2,400.
Okay. I just want to make sure that our memories were all good with everyone else. Okay, Stan, continue.
Okay, is Sam around? Because I do want him to defend this Wisconsin Bike Federation thing that Sandra Taylor brought up. If he could speak, I'd ask for unanimous consent, hear from him and explain this a little bit. Otherwise, I'm looking to possibly move it out.
Yeah, thank you, Stan. So I guess from our aspect is just overall in general with trails, the city of Menasha has made some great strides as far as where we've been and where we're heading. I think specifically to this bike federation, though, I will pass it off to the mayor.
I was figuring you would do that. So I've been.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Yeah, I did work with someone from the Bike Fed, and we have been talking a lot about our image within the Fox Cities as kind of the center point of biking. And part of that marketing aspect could be better utilized if we had a designation as a bike-friendly community. So what this does is it helps us use the Bike Federation's expertise to get that designation. So this membership offers us a facilitator for a bike-friendly community application. And it also kind of fits in with one of the comprehensive plan amendments that Sam is working on the transportation end. The Bike Fed predicts that they would dedicate about 40 to 50 hours of their staff time to work with our staff to get that designation. They also will be working to showcase the city of Menasha within their, what is it called? I'm reading off her email here. They have a biking guide that gets sent out across the state, and they would put an article in there about the city of Menasha. This is a $600 or so article that they would put if we would do that on our own. And they would work with us to add that perspective as to why our community is an important kind of link in this bike facilities throughout the Fox Cities.
How does the 2,500 come into this? How does that number come about? Does it matter what amount we give? I mean, if we gave 1,000 instead of the 2,500, would that make a difference?
That's the membership level that we could get this at. In future years, we could still be a member of the Bike Fed at a much lower, maybe $500 rate. But in order to get all of this additional work through them, we would have to donate at that level for this year.
All right.
And so 50 hours worth of staff time, that's a pretty minimal amount to get 50 hours worth of work from them. I would say that this is a good value for us, and
Okay.
getting that distribution helps us market ourselves.
All right.
And I can forward this email to you if you want to see it afterwards as well.
All right, I'm good with that. As far as Sandra brought up the library's budget, and I would hope that there was enough savings that's coming back this year from the library that we wouldn't have to make any additional cuts in the library budget. So I wouldn't necessarily want to cut out, I believe she had 50,000 in there. I think we may have even a bigger savings than that. The senior center, I certainly would not want to cut a program that I think is so vital for our community, but I do share in her feelings about, and some of our members here on the council that feel that we're sharing this with other communities and they're not pitching in. So I would propose that they would look at some type of membership for individuals who live outside of the city of Menasha to bring in some revenues. So if that isn't done by the next budget, and if I'm around, I would be looking at making reductions. So she understands that's why I wouldn't want to make any cut, especially when a year, many of the seniors with the COVID has been a difficult year, and I'm hoping that next year's budget will have even a better senior center for older adults. As far as the city's attorney's budget, I don't think her appointment's up this coming year, is it? Mayor,
I believe it is up this spring.
It is up this spring?
I believe that's true, correct, Attorney Captain?
Yes, the appointments for the city clerk and the city attorney are up in 21.
Okay. Well, with that, I know I jumped in, and I usually do that. I know that there are some aldermen that have other areas that they may want to either add or reduce. So I'll give up the mic and let them jump in.
Sure. Alderman Nichols, did you want to
Thank
go
you,
next?
Mayor. Sure, thank you, Mayor. In talking more with Director Sassman about the IT improvements that are being planned, she felt, and she also reviewed the IT fund balance, she felt that $4,000 more of the fund balance could go towards that data refresh project. Is that correct, Director Sassman?
That is correct.
Great. So I would like to start there. And let's see, I'm on page 36, which is the portion of that project that is on the levy right now. And I would like to reduce line item 513.80-01 by $4,000 and increase the use of reserve funds in Fund 743 by $4,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second her motion.
Does everyone understand what this is doing? Yes? Okay, I don't see any questions.
Please explain, Don.
So what this is doing is we have IT funds similar to the city garage fund. And we are going to use $4,000 out of that fund to reduce the tax levy by $4,000. So basically, we're taking $4,000 out of the IT savings account and applying it towards this project rather than tax levy. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Why only 4? Why not make it 5 and make it a round number?
Because Alderman Nicole requested 4. She can pick any number she wants. But
I picked that number specifically because when Director Sassman reviewed the IT fund balance, she identified $4,000 that was left over from the website makeover, so to speak. And since those specific funds, that project is complete, those funds are left over, we're going to apply that to the data refresh project and reduce the levy by that much.
Well explained. Thank you.
Thank you.
any other discussion? Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Nichols?
Aye.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenin?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Rapella?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Did you have others, Alderman Nichols?
I do. I have a few more.
Okay.
Would you all join me on page 320 of the CIP? On page 320, there were a few projects slated for borrowing that stood out to me for two reasons, mostly because of the small amounts we were talking about, and because some of them, like the trail crack fill and seal projects, would be considered more general maintenance than specific upgrades. And I was looking specifically to find reductions in the levy to address some of these needs. The first one I want to start with is, in the first half of the page, it's the PD dehumidification project. And it's slated for $3,000 of borrowing this year and $3,000 of borrowing next year. And I thought that was a really small amount that maybe we could work on. So I called Chief Styka and talked with him about it. And Chief Styka, are you on today? Yes, I see you. If you could just summarize our conversation about that and your feelings about how we might be able to fund that more efficiently.
Sure. The humidity in the building has certainly been an issue, and our public works folks have been brainstorming several different ways to try to address it. The money that you see in the CIP is a type of unit that would be able to, right now we have a number of regular dehumidification units around the building that have to be emptied, like you would buy at Menards or Home Depot or one of those. The units that you see in the CIP would actually be one that would be kind of self-running itself. In talking with Alderman Nichols about it, that certainly seems like something that, because the longevity of it is probably about 5 years, which would not necessarily last over the time that we'd be paying for it, but in addition, the smaller amounts, we think that we should be able to handle that out of the building budget. So I know we're kind of toggling two different pages, but if on page 47, I don't know that the mayor has to scroll to it right now, but the building budget for this year in our presentation that we gave you, we ended up increasing that from $18,500 to $20,000 based upon some of the upgrades that we had been looking at. So it's already increasing $1,500 for next year. In reviewing our budget for tonight and trying to see if there were other cuts or changes or things that we could make, I did an analysis of our electrical use for the last several years, and I believe that budget can be reduced by $1,000. So in essence, what we would like to do is transfer $1,000 from the electricity budget, which is 2203 in our budget, to the buildings line, which is 2403. Thereby, the total increase for this year would be $2,500, which will be close to covering the dehumidification project if that goes forward for this year. So in essence, it would be no change on the levy at all, but it would reduce the expenditure or the borrowing for 2021 and 2022 for the smaller project.
So Chief, essentially what we're doing is removing $1,000 from the electricity line, which is 521.22-03, and adding that $1,000 to the buildings line, correct? Which
That's
is
correct.
521.24-03.
That would be correct.
You'd also have to reduce the borrowing amount too.
And yes, and I will
It seems like a lot of work for $1,000 or whatever for a large borrowing package, but
we can eliminate $3,000 of borrowing from the 2021 CIP and the 2022 CIP.
All right.
By funding it this way.
If you just took a hose up to those dehumidifiers, run them down the drain, you don't have to empty them.
Agreed. Although we don't have a drain in the middle of the hallway or in the patrol room.
Well, whose fault is that? Sorry.
Exactly.
Chief James Taylor, then how are we going to handle that humidity problem?
Yeah, so I guess the way that Josh explained it to me is that it's more of a centralized unit that would be installed in the middle. So they would do it in two phases. Next year would be the first phase, and then the basement would be in the subsequent year. And it's basically a larger unit that would pull the moisture out of the air itself and then blow it out through the top in through the rest of that floor. Because of that being more of a permanent unit as opposed to the $100 or $200 dehumidifiers we have around the building, that would actually then be hard piped in to drain automatically. So it would be a hands-off type of system. They did look at doing one which would tie into the HVAC system, but that would be more expensive and it also causes some additional problems and a lot more of an operating cost.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Mayor, would you like me to repeat my motion?
Only if everyone else does.
I just want to make sure you have it because it does include.
I get it, but you didn't do the second part of it, which was. Go ahead.
Excuse me?
Haley, do you have the motion? Why don't we have Haley read what she has?
Removing $1,000 from the electrical fund to the building fund and reduce borrowing for the 2021 and 2022 CIP.
By 3,000.
Yeah, 3,000 each year.
Any other questions on Alderman Nichols' motion? Or was there? So it's so Alderman Nichols and Alderman Severnick. Any other discussion? Ted, did you have discussion? No? Could we have a roll call vote then, please?
Alderman Nichols?
Aye.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Severnick?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Nay.
Alderman Rapella?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-1.
Any others?
Yes, I have one more, I think.
Okay.
For this one, this one deals with, back to page 320, the
Wonder you want me
trail.
to.
You don't
So
have
go-
to go back. I'll just say what it is. The crack fill seal project for Manitowoc Road, Trail, Province Trail, and Trestle Trail. And I want all of you to know that I spoke with Director Sackett, with Director Alex, and with Director Sassman about this issue. And all of them agreed that this would be considered more of a general maintenance type project. And Director Sassman, could you address how it might be preferred to address these type of maintenance projects?
Ideally, these would be in the general fund. Is that what you're talking about, Alderman Nichols?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
we had talked about that earlier because they are a maintenance type of item. And we did look at these items when we saw them in the CIP. And although I agree with that, they didn't exactly quite fit into the budget numbers we were looking at either. So we did take a look at those and basically tried to get them in the general fund.
Yes, and then in speaking with Director Alex and Director Sackett, Moore, they found an item that, or we together found an item that they would feel comfortable eliminating for this year that would reduce the levy by about $11,000. And so with that $11,000 reduction and that I'm about to propose, the $6,400 reduction that Alderman Sevenik proposed earlier, that was part of my plan as well. And with some money left over from the data refresh reduction to the levy, I've more than come up with the amount needed to remove those items from long-term borrowing and pay for them with money on hand for this year. And that reduction, I moved that because of those conversations, that we remove the new cat lift that was proposed and funded through the Public Works and Parks budget. And the total amount for that is $11,000.
And there's another $2,750 through the forestry department for that same lift. It's a combined project between Public Works and forestry.
What I have, Alderman Taylor, is line item 541.80-05 from Public Works for $5,500. I have line 541.30-15 for $2,750. And line 561.30-15 for $2,750.
Yeah, I had $11,000 with the Public Works budget and 27 with the forestry, 2,750.
Hold on.
Maybe.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Adam?
Yes, Pam?
If someone's making a motion, can we please hear the motion?
Sure. I think what Alderman Taylor was asking is if that was the entire budget for the lift. And I think Director Alex could probably shed some light on that.
Sure, I can. It is
What page are
11,000,
we on?
several pages. Pages 89.
That, Your Honor, that would be in discussion. Can we please have the motion and see if it's seconded? And then from there, we go on to discussion.
Doesn't matter. I just like to get that we got the right.
Hold on.
Myself have
I
those.
don't know. If that's- The question is that the total amount for the tool, for the cat lift? And then I'm not sure that the motion is just that one item. Is that true, Alderman Nichols, or were you going to combine a few?
That is my motion, to remove that $11,000 through
Okay.
those line items.
Okay, is there a second on that motion?
Randy already second.
Okay,
Mayor, is the total 13,750?
hold on. Director Alex, could you let us know what the total amount for the lift is?
Okay, the total amount for the lift in the general fund is $11,000. When I referenced the park department earlier, it is in the forestry account. That's where Director Sackett had it. That's on page 182. That's the 2750 that's being funded by the park department. Then there's 2750 being funded on page 94 under subaccount 30-15. And then there is the 5,500 on page 89 under the subaccount 80-05.
So Public Works, Forestry, what's the third account?
Third account is street lighting.
Okay.
Well, they're all public works. The other two are
Sure.
public works.
And
And
the other
the total is, the total?
Is
11,000.
the 11,000.
Thank you.
Alderman Sebenik.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I'm not 100% on this. If I could keep Adam on. Adam, why would you want to take these particular items out of those budgets?
Because we got a new garage.
So you're saying you don't need them?
I'm not saying we don't need it. What we're looking at doing is pushing that out for 1 year. And just so you guys are aware, Deputy Director Brown made me aware that I took it out of the budget last year before it even came to you guys. What we're trying to do is make sure that this crack filling does get done. That is something that's going to prolong the life of the pavement that's out there, similarly to what we had talked about with our street crack filling projects, and felt as though that is something that is warranted, probably should not be in our long-term borrowing. Therefore, we are looking or offering up sliding that lift out 1 more year. The trails out there gets weathered on year round. The lift is something that probably wouldn't get used on a daily basis. So therefore, I think that Director Sackett and myself, and I did talk with Deputy Director Brown and Superintendent McDonald, and we all, some of them begrudgingly, but think that this is okay, we can do this.
So we will still do the ceiling.
Yes, we will. It'll just come out of the general fund.
Well, I mean, we could reduce I could just make one single motion tonight to take money out of the general fund to balance our budget and reduce the levy, but that's not how you do budgets. So, but you're giving up, in this case, you're giving up things, and one is a lift.
It is a lift. It's going to be shared by multiple departments or multiple services, multiple departments as well.
Was it shared in their budgets?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, and is this lift used to like replace like lights, overhead lights, or?
Overhead lights, correct. What it's going to do is it's going to replace, right now, if we can't get at it with our bucket lift truck, we have a man basket on a tow motor or skid steer. This would be a scissors lift attachment. We've attached to the front of it could have gone front of a Bobcat, but we intended to put it in front of our We have a toolcat, which is a Bobcat manufactured cart that has all the hydraulics of a skid steer for getting down on the trestle trail, getting around on the trails, system for street lights. It ended up in the forestry budget as it might provide us, an opportunity for tree trimming in tight areas as well. So this was going to be shared amongst the two departments in the three different service accounts.
And were you saying that you'll hold that off for one more year?
One more year, yes.
Not sure if I'm comfortable with that.
I guess one of the reasons why I'm not totally opposed to doing this is, again, and I know I'm going to get burnt on this. I just know it. I really believe that the Public Works facility budget, which is we're helping fund some of that construction and ideally the equipment that's going into that new facility through the equipment replacement fund. We've committed like $300,000. Again, I'm convinced that we're not going to need all of that, and we maybe be able to come back, at a later date and say, hey, we can afford this. If you recall, we took it out. But in order to make sure that we get this crack filling, and we could borrow for it too. But again, I think we all are in agreement that's probably not the wisest thing to do. That this is something that I think we can do to take care of the crack filling. And then if we just push this off a year, at least a year, I think we'll be fine.
How much is it usually to rent this type of equipment?
We already have.
This particular one, I'm not sure if they would have it available to rent.
I'm just saying is, again, I have a feeling what's going to happen is something's going to come up and you're going to say, boy, I wish we would have had that in our budget. We didn't do what we did. And we shouldn't have waited till next year. And then you're going to go out and try to rent the piece of equipment, and then it's going to cost us in the long run. So I'm not.
Do we have a scissors lift, Adam, at this time?
We do have a scissors lift. Like I said, we have to trailer it no matter where we go. If we do bring it downtown, so we do have a scissors lift, but we think that this would be more efficient, probably safer. We wouldn't be trailering, wouldn't need to trailer it down there. So.
Okay, I see lots of lights on, so I'll let other.
Do we have a bucket truck too?
We do. Again, this would be for areas where it might be more prudent to use something smaller, like we can't take the bucket truck out on the trestle trail, but we could take the toolcat with this lift. We've done it with ladders. We have taken the lift down there as well. We just think that this would be much more efficient, faster means of being able to provide those services. So.
Alderman Schmidt, did you have something as well?
Yeah, I did. Just with listening during the budgets, talking about this list, and we did talk about this in specific. Just what Director Alex said was that this is going to be better for the time usage for our guys, which means it's going to save us some money. It's safer. It's going to be able to get into tighter spots. I'm not happy about pulling this out due to the fact that, again, I look at it like it's kicking the can. How much more is that piece of equipment going to cost in 2 years? I can't go along with pulling this out. I think this is something that they do need, and it's going to give us way more benefit than anything. And I think just, like I said, kicking it off for another year, 2 years, 3 years is ridiculous. I think it should stay in the budget. That's it.
Alderman Grady?
Well, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank Alderman Nichols for kind of thinking outside the box here on some of these savings. This 11,000 she got with the right people, and they're all in agreement with it. So I think it's a go. I think we should approve the motion, and she did her homework and they're happy with it. They're not arguing the fact that they don't want it, so I'm okay.
Alderman Rapella?
Thank you, Mayor. Adam had mentioned that there's a good chance, or at least a decent chance, that he could still get the lift from the $300,000 that he had budgeted for the city garage replacement thing. So I'm gonna roll with Ted and say, Adam, work some magic and use your $300,000 to the best of your ability. Thank you.
That would still be borrowing.
Yeah, you're right. It would be, but what's 300,000?
Alderman Taylor, did you have something else?
Yeah, I have the same motion here on my paperwork here, and I agree. We do have a scissors left. We do have to trailer some things, and we have a bucket truck, and we can't have everything all the time, and a lot of things get moved ahead and back. And, I'm going to vote yes.
Did you have anything else, Alderman Nichols?
I just wanted to ask Director Alex, we talked a lot about crack fill today on streets, which is also funded through the levy. And we talked about lifespan and replacement. And can you mention how often those are done?
Yeah, I can certainly try and address that. I did talk with Deputy Director Gordon as well, and we really do not track, I guess, the life expectancy of these crack filling, because it is something that when we try and hit these streets more, right now the new program is like every other year. So if anything were to get pulled out, it would get rerouted and reef crack filled. However, on these trails, in addition to that, we're looking to like slurry seal coat it, which is something that more than likely would not last, beyond say 10 years. So that's one of the reasons why I'm in agreement with at least getting it out of the borrowing.
Okay, and I just felt that since we levy for crack fill on streets, that why would we not levy for that sort of thing on our trails as well, when we know the lifespan isn't going to be 10 years, which is usually the life of the loan. So that's why I'm bringing that forward this evening, to reduce some borrowing and pay for the things that we can with the money we have instead of borrowing.
Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Mayor. The other thing, though, is I kind of got puzzled by what Randy said, because that fund is not for equipment like that. So I would be opposed to you trying to take from that the surplus fund from the garage or whatever. Hopefully this sticks with the equipment replacement, unless that's what he meant. But this should be part of the equipment replacement fund, where every time we use it, we bill that fund, and then there's money for it, so that we don't have to do these kind of things. Because I'll tell you what, this might become a practice, Adam. Before you know it, the next one's a garbage truck, and then the next one's, squad cars, chief, and just letting you guys know.
Did you want to comment on that, Adam?
In regards to Alderman Rapella's comment, the 300,000 would be the equipment replacement fund. It would not be the contingency. The intent there, or my thought is that
Okay.
that equipment replacement fund was to sort of shoulder some of our equipment purchases, and then which were not part of the USDA borrowing, but some of it could be. So that's where I'm looking at it. And you bring up an interesting point. You are correct. I would agree with your assessment, Alderman Sevenick, that due to the amount of this, maybe it should have come out of the equipment replacement fund. However, it was set up this way this particular time.
Do you have anything else, Alderman Nichols?
I guess I was just a little confused about what Alderman Sevenick just said, and I want to be clear. This piece of equipment was not budgeted in the equipment replacement fund. It was budgeted with levy dollars.
Yes.
Yes, I understood that. And
Okay.
I'm saying, yeah, I was concerned about, anyways, Adam explained it very well.
Okay. So the motion that's on the floor right now is to reduce those three budgets by $11,000 total to eliminate the cat lift. It has nothing to do with crack filling at this point, correct? Yes.
Correct, I'll make that next.
Okay. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
No,
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
No.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Rapala.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-2.
Okay. Alderman Nichols?
Thank you. And then I would like to remove from the CIP borrowing budget, the Manitowoc Road Trail crack fill and seal, the Province Trail, and the Trestle Trail crack fill and seal, for a total of $18,500.
considering the last motion, I guess that was what it was set up to do, so I'll second the motion.
Okay, so just to be clear, are we moving those to someplace else, or are you just completely eliminating those three?
We're going to use that. We're not eliminating them. Thank you for asking that.
Yes.
But between the 11,000 that just passed, the 6,400 that Alderman Sevenick removed a while ago.
So what you'd like to do is to transfer these three items from the CIP into the Parks Fund, correct?
Yes.
And Jennifer, could you help me with, or Megan, where that belongs?
Where it would belong in the parks budget?
Yes. So that go under, or Adam, that go under buildings, small projects?
So I'm looking small projects if we got it, page 163.
I would recommend small projects as well.
Yeah. On page
So-
163.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Can someone
So-
give the number, please?
Yep, I was just gonna get there. So on page 163, the motion then would be to remove, I don't know if it'd be to remove or to move those three items in the CIP to account number 100-703-553-2405. Is that correct, Jen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Does everyone understand what the motion is? Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
discussion.
I
Any
have
discussion?
some- What's the,
Randy?
oh yeah, what was the, what are the small projects consist of right now? That we have 12,500 in it for?
Director Sackett, could you elaborate, or I don't know if Thad's on as well? Usually Thad knows what exactly all these things are. I don't have that list with me right now. These are typically small repair type projects within the parks. But I don't know if there's specifics or not in there this year. Do you know, Megan? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you, Don.
Okay.
We just want to answer you.
I guess that number was already accounted for, so we wouldn't really want to change that number. We'd want to add to that number, Randy. Is what?
Okay, understood. I figured maybe they had the foresight to have the crack filling already in there.
No. We had looked at this to start out with. I didn't really want it in the CIP either, so.
Okay, thank you.
Stan, did you have something else?
Is it also everyone understood that the 6,400 is also coming out of the public works budget for this?
So.
Oh, I need the numbers then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So what this is doing is it's
Actually,
adding.
it was a reduction already, and she's there's no number now. It's just adding 6,400 that we already took out.
Right. This is getting ridiculous here.
Well, we can, Mayor,
Go ahead.
the total for the project is $18,500, and that's the amount that would go into the small projects line, 2405.
So if you want to look, I think what they're asking is net, what did we do to the budget? So if you approve this motion, looking at the motions that were already approved, we would still be down $6,900 from what we had started with. Is that what you were really asking? Is that the right number, Jen?
That's correct. I'm
Okay.
glad we have the same number.
So this motion adds 18,500 to 2405. Ted, did you have a question as well?
Yeah, my head's spinning here, and I'm an accountant, so I guess I can understand some of the creativity that some of the aldermen have, but to put this money back, are we putting this money on the levy? That I don't know. I just don't get it. It just seems like we have a budget that's set. Now we want to take CIP money, certain project money, pay for it up front instead of borrowing in the future years for it. So I guess
that's exactly what this does. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not for some of these changes, and maybe it takes tonight to talk about it, but when we have the budget workshops that we had all last week for 3, 4, 5 hours a night, none of this is mentioned. Then all of a sudden we bring this up at the last hour, and it's confusing to some of us. I know it's confusing to me, and I'm an accountant, and I don't know. I think we overthink some of this stuff. So I'll just leave it at that, but I'm not going to vote for this one.
Ted, that's exactly why I voted no the first time around, because I didn't want to do all this. Okay, so now, now that you guys decided, yes, that's what you wanted to do, this is just now paying for that crack sealing and that. So, I mean, that's why I voted no before, but seeing you all agreed, I figured I'm going to agree with you. So basically the money that we reduced, some of it is getting put back into the budget. And as the mayor said, so far we're only reduced by some $6,000.
Yes. So I don't see any further discussion then.
Oh, I'm sorry. My microphone was on and then I turned it off. I can't help but, well, I could probably recall several conversations over the last 7 years on the council floor about borrowing. And there are certain times and certain things that oftentimes many of us feel strongly that no, we shouldn't borrow. We should use the funds that we have to pay for things. I'll use the Public Works facility as an example. We chose to use funds that were available to fund certain parts of that project that weren't budgeted for in the beginning, like furniture and a fueling station with a canopy and all of those things. So when we have an opportunity to reduce borrowing, that's what I saw here, an opportunity. I see here an opportunity to reduce borrowing in the future and use funds that we have available to us to pay for general maintenance. I don't think general maintenance is an appropriate thing to be borrowing for. For me, it's one step away from borrowing for operations, which is something that you never ever want to do as a local government. So, and while finding a way to do that, to pay for that with dollars we have, I felt it appropriate to go through and find reductions that could be made to cover those costs. And as was mentioned, we're still $6,900 ahead, so to speak. It doesn't use all of the dollars that have been reduced from the budget thus far. And I'm certain that there will be more reductions this evening. So that's simply what I was trying to do, find ways to fund, to pay for general maintenance with money that we have.
Okay. Any further discussion? No? Okay, so there's, Randy?
Sorry, Don. Adam, I just have a question. I can't find it in the budget, but I've got some notes written down. That Villa Way reconstruction of $640,000. Oops.
We're on a motion, Randy.
Oh, sorry. Okay, forget it.
Okay, you can do that afterwards. So we have a motion right now to move the crack filling from CIP to the Parks Department. Could we have a roll call vote?
Alderman Nichols?
Aye.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick?
Reluctant, aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Nay.
Alderman Rapella?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-1.
Okay, Randy, now you can ask your question about Villa Way.
Okay, thank you. Adam, that Villa Way expense of $640,000, I should have asked you this morning. Are the individual landowners on the street having to pay for that? Is that taken out of our city type of money?
That will not be special assessed.
Okay, so they'll get that, their street without.
Must be coming out of a TIF.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Adam.
That
Hey,
is
Mayor.
part of TIF 12. Yes,
So
go ahead, Stan.
seeing that we were, and you're probably going to wish you didn't ask me to go next year, but seeing we're on that page 320, I want to
Okay.
have a conversation here about on our CIP budget about our Jefferson Park. Where is it now? I guess I'm looking at this wrong. Jefferson Park Community Playground of $100,000.
Sure.
I've had conversations over the course of a year now with different council members, and just recently with Alderman Nichols, that, and I know that Alderman Taylor very strongly wanted to have a workshop on our CIP budget in the past before we get to this point. Just because we passed this budget tonight, I don't think everybody's really happy with the CIP budget, that should be a separate time when we discuss that. So what I'd like to propose is for the future maybe in the next few months, we have a workshop just talking about our CIP budget for 2021 and 2022, so that when budget comes, we're not surprised by some of this stuff.
Sure.
And it has been a strong opinion by almost every council member to me at one point or another to do that. But back to the Jefferson Park playground equipment.
Before you get off that, Stan, the best practice is really to have a CIP workshop probably in May, June, July timeframe, and then go into the budget after that. But we can do one over the winter this year too.
Okay, yes. I've held strong opinion, and I expressed it the other night about this equipment, playground equipment for Jefferson Park, because it seems like every community is starting to do this now. It's like, I almost wonder if contractors aren't like somehow getting communities to build these things. But $600,000 is a lot of money for playground equipment. And it's not like we're building a building, for goodness sakes. And I just don't understand these prices. And you know, what we put out at Hart Park, that was a lot of money. What was that, like 70, 80,000 for that alone?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know, I guess we're all in the wrong business. But what I wanted to say, and I'm just throwing it out there, is that before we start putting it in our 2021 CIP budget, let's see the fundraising first, because I know what's going to happen. We're going to budget $100,000 this year. Then you're going to want to budget $100,000 the next year because you came up short on your campaign to raise the $500,000. And it has happened. It has happened how many times? Recently, the senior center, where we asked the senior center to kick in an X amount of dollars, and we ended up building this thing, and they never raised that amount of money, and we just put in the rest of the money to finish the project. And I'm afraid that that's what's going to happen again. So I'm sorry, James, I'm not making the motion right now to reduce that, because it's not going to do anything really. They have to come back to us anyways to get that money. But I'm just putting it out there. I have strong feelings about this. We have a good park board, and I don't know how involved they would be with this. It sounds more like it's an internal thing within the administration for this. And if you could show me you've got that $500,000 for park equipment from someone or some group, great. Then I'm okay with the $100,000. But my fear, and I'm making it known, and I said it last time, I'm afraid that that's what's going to happen. You got something to say, Mayor?
Yeah, why don't we, so when we had the first project for the park board, for the Jefferson Park, we brought that back to the council. We left it in the budget, but we brought it back before we did anything, and we decided to change that. Why don't we leave this in the budget, but require council approval before the project moves forward, or something like that?
Definitely. And I think any of these capital improvements need council approval before any of them, just because they're in our budget. See, that's where I have a problem with the, when I say administration, I don't just mean you, Mayor. Is that just because it's in the budget this is our work. This is what we work with, what we need to do for 2021. The buck stops with the city council, whether you like that or not. And just to go ahead and start doing these things, I think you got to get approval first from the city council.
So
and
then why?
And obviously, like, go through the right committees too. You know, maybe the park board won't even be happy with whatever someone's planning out there. I hope they have a bigger involvement in this than just what's coming from staff.
No, this is meant to be a community community discussion, as well as a fundraising discussion. So this is not going to be tomorrow. We're going to be proposing a park to build in March. If we get this fundraising done by fall, we'll be doing good. And we have 2 different groups of people that are interested in being part of the fundraising team. We have a couple people that have expressed interest in design. The park board's interested in working on that design. And we usually partner with some student groups as well when we do playgrounds. So this would come back to the council before we would start building or sign any contracts.
I thank the council members for letting me rant. I guess when we're done today, I'll feel better that I at least said this, but I think it's in the back of a lot of your minds also. Thank you.
Sure. Alderman Taylor?
So Mayor, we're not borrowing 100,000 yet, correct?
We don't borrow money until after the project's done typically. So Director Sassman will be bringing something forward in probably January, maybe February, to borrow for the 2020 projects. So all of our street projects and all that, we do that out of working capital. And then once we find out what the actual amount is, then we borrow that amount.
Okay.
So
yeah, last February, I asked for a CIP workshop, and well, COVID hit, and then we didn't have the means of getting together. So, but I appreciate this year if we have a workshop on CIP. Thank you.
You can do that, sure. Other discussion about the budget? No? So.
Yeah, I did, Mayor.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Page 88. And I appreciate talking a few times with Adam today. It sounds like everybody else did too, so we kept them busy today. Page 88, the second paragraph down, traffic line painting. Adam got some numbers in today, and I would like to subtract $2,000 sub-account 20-10 payment maintenance for $2,000 to remove. And Adam can explain that.
Is there a second?
I'll second for now.
Okay.
For discussion.
Dr. Alex, did you want to comment?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have a green light telling me that I'm on. Anyway, so it's coincidental that just today, I see our final billing from Calumet County. They were in town earlier in the year, and then they came back and finished up our long line painting. And some discussions again today with Deputy Director Brown and Superintendent McDonald. We feel as though that in order to do long lines that we had get done this year, which all of them we may not need to have done next year, and there's a couple other areas that we wanted to take a look at. We think $8,000 would work, so we could go with 8,000 instead of the 10.
Any other discussion? If not, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Nichols?
Aye.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Rapallo?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Okay.
Also, I add something on page 26, the clerk's budget. We were talking about this. First of all, the clerk did an excellent job with the election. And we know that all of us that visited or voted saw how many people were at the elections. But this year coming up, for the vending and catering, we only have a spring election. And I think for $250, we should be able to take care of donuts and whatever else we do for the spring election. And I would like to reduce 100-02204 512 20-02 vending and catering by $1,250.
Is there a second? There's no second on that.
I'll second it, but I'll go to $1,000, not 1,200.
You can't change his motion.
Can I change the motion then?
You can. You can make a new
Okay.
motion.
Just take out 1,000, James.
I'll make a new
Yeah.
motion to make it 1,000.
Yeah. Then I'll second it. Thank you, James. Good job.
Clerk Kramer, what's in that budget?
So yes, as described in the last meeting, we typically use that for a small get together as like an appreciation type dinner, but obviously we will not be doing that due to COVID, and we will not be providing food for the workers for this upcoming election. We usually only provide food for the larger elections like presidential elections. So that is fine that there is a reduction.
Okay. Any other discussion?
So could you repeat the
Yes.
motion so we all, yeah.
Is it,
Let's reduce the catering line by to $1,000, right? And it's 2,000 right now?
No, it's 1,500.
It
Okay.
was subtract 1,000.
Subtract 1,000. Okay. Is everyone clear with the motion then? To reduce that by 1,000? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Nichols,
Nay. Nay.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
nay?
Alderman Rapella.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-2.
Okay.
The next page I have is page 21, the city attorney's account. And account 100-0201-512.212-01, legal services, in the amount of, there's an amount of $10,000 in there. I talked to the city attorney today about this, and she said this was in there to, if she couldn't represent us, if there was a conflict, we would have to bring somebody else in, and or for council meetings, if she was absent for a council meeting, we bring in another attorney. And I would like to, I see in 2019, we used 3,900. I would like to reduce this by $7,500.
Is there a second?
Mayor, I'm still looking for where it is in the budget. What was that?
It is.
What were the last two numbers?
2101.
Yep, right here.
Halfway down under bank sick leave.
Is legal.
Oh, just legal. Okay, that's
Legal.
of course. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's how much in there now?
10,000. And I'll wait till see if there's a second.
And I want to hear what was the motion? Could the clerk please read it back?
To reduce the amount by $7,500 under the legal account.
James, I'll second it, but only reduce it to 5,000.
You can't
Randy.
do that, Randy.
Don't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll change it to, I'll change my motion to 5,000.
I'll second.
Just to let everyone know, every year, almost every year, the attorney has requested 15,000, and I cut that down to 10,000. 10,000 doesn't go very far if we're hiring outside attorneys.
And how much do we use for 2020?
Not a whole lot, but you never know.
It says 0, and 2019 was 3,900.
But you can count on that.
So, Attorney Captain, we spend what, 150 an hour for something? What do we spend for municipal court? And then tell us what some specialized attorneys run per hour typically.
If there is a municipal court, yes, that's about $150 an hour, because we can get a deal. If I'm able to switch using the services of another attorney, municipal attorney, obviously that's where savings occurs. But that does not always happen. You know, the number that's in there is a placeholder. Hourly rates, the lowest would be 150. In contacting anyone with a specialty such as environmental, we're talking $500, $600 an hour. That does not go very far. If there is some employment matter, that would be somewhere about, well, that'll range between probably $2.25 to $3.25 an hour. It just depends what the topic is. So of course, it's always a placeholder. We try to obviously minimize the amount of legal services, outside legal services. Stuff for like claims is in a different part of the budget.
I just wanted everyone to be aware. I was shocked the first time I saw what legal actually cost, the first times that we were hiring outside attorneys. So just so everyone knows, $5,000 doesn't go very far. And I'll leave it at that, and you guys can make the decision where you want to go either way. Does anyone have any other discussion?
I do.
Randy? Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I know that Pam is up for reappointment come April. And if there should be a situation where we're left without a city attorney for a while, we may have to use this money to cover that time frame. If Pam chooses not to come back in April. So we need to rethink this a little bit. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Stan, did you have something else or not?
Just want to say, Randy, that doesn't cover that. That is a moot point. This is for outside services, period. If we had to do what you suggest, then we could take it from the attorney's budget, from salaries or whatever. So, sorry, I didn't know my light was on.
That's okay. I just want to make sure, because I couldn't see your face. You've kind of turned your screen a little bit too. So with
looking at my budget, that's on my table, so I just
okay.
Disappear.
With that, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Nichols?
Nay.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenik?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
I am going to take a chance on this and vote aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Nay.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Nay.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Nay.
Alderman Repella?
You don't have your mic on, Randy.
Sorry. Aye.
Thank you, guys. I'll vote no. So the motion fails.
4-5.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to reduce that same budget by $3,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we're not going through discussion again. We'll see where it falls. If we could have a roll call vote.
Alderman Nichols?
Nay.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenik?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Same thing. I will take a chance on this and vote aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Nay.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Nay.
Alderman Ted Grady,
I'll say aye on this one.
Alderman Repella.
Aye.
Motion carries
5-3.
5-3.
Okay.
Mayor?
Did you have something else, Dan?
Yeah, during the public forum part, Sandy brought up a question on TIF 8. I'm looking at it's on page.
That's the bridge amenities that she was talking about?
Is that what that was?
Yes.
I don't see that on I saw bridge amenities elsewhere in the CIP budget, but I didn't see it on this 287 page, which says TIF project number 8. TIF, I don't see bridge on here anywhere. So, okay, if that's what it is, that's fine.
Okay.
But that's certainly not under TIF 8.
I'm looking. I'm gonna go off the screen now too.
It's 287 is TIF 8, but I did see the amenities under the CIP budget. I saw it somewhere. I'm like, oh, that's where that is. On page 230.
Adam, did that not get transferred into this budget and just on the CAP portion?
I do not see it in the TIF, but it should have been. It should have been in TIF 8. That's where it's coming from.
It's not in there, but it is in the CIP. I swear I saw it on there.
Yeah, we broke it out over a couple of years. We anticipate some of those costs coming in 21, but not all of them. So we wanted to put some of them in there.
That answers her question. So
that's what it's for. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Also, she had talked about another TIF with the 300,000. My notes are bad. I didn't write down the TIF.
That could have been the strong neighborhoods.
Yes, that's what it was, Ted. Thank you. Okay. Wow, what? I must have just assumed I would know that, and that's why I didn't write any further. But thanks, Ted. I have very strong opinions about this, and I don't want to throw the baby out with the, with the bathwater here. I still think it's got it's a good program, and yes, if Sandra's still on, it is coming from the TIF, so it isn't levy dollars. So it's the other half that we're putting in. We put the first half in last year, and then this is the second half. But I do think we need to sit down as a council again and set up some rules. And I think it is extremely generous, overly generous. And I'm not just talking about the one thing that divided us on it about the elected officials part, but I think, interest-free loans would be a better concept. Enough giveaways, people in the public are really shocked when they learn about this, what this is. And I bet you less than 1% of the people in Menasha know anything about this. So I'm not going to, I bet you some folks might have thought I was going to try to throw this out, but I think it's a good program. So
Director Schrader had commented that he would like to have a workshop a little bit later, either this year or early next year as well.
And I think that's the better play on this. So let's do that, and I'll end my gab.
I was just going to add to that. Community development has been looking at this program. While we certainly do not are not in favor of all of them being low interest loans, because otherwise we're going to add a staff member to this budget. But we are looking at is those cost savings measures, those smaller things that we can do. So I have discussed with our department as well as the mayor to potentially bring forward a workshop at the December 7th common council meeting where we can discuss that a little bit further.
James, did you have something else?
Yes. I also had page 178. And at the bottom of that was for Sam, the Wisconsin Bike Federation. And what are the other numbers associated with that in that last column?
All right, so you're looking at budget 562-3201 dues, membership, and licenses.
Yes.
So that is.
And on the very bottom, those the 25, the 19, and the 44.
The 44 is just the combined amount. The 1900, excuse me, is dues, memberships, and licenses for community development staff. All three of us are members of the Wisconsin American Planning Association, and there's other smaller memberships that fall into that category.
Okay, so the Bike Federation is the 2,500.
Yes, the Bike Federation is just at 2,500 as part of that 4,400.
Okay. You know, I think the mayor has done a fantastic job with the trail system in the community. We're still piecing it together. We're not there yet. We got a couple more lakes to do out on the District 8, and I think when we're ready to get the certification and market this, I think that's a time to incorporate those 40, 50 hours that this federation will give us. But I don't think the time is quite there yet. And I think when we roll it out the door, it should have all the parts connected, and we're there yet. So I'm going to make a motion to remove the Wisconsin Bike Federation membership for 2,500.
Is there a second? There's no second at this point.
Okay.
Mayor, what I would like, if I could, James, about that, Mayor made a comment that, okay, this is our initiation fee, whatever. Don't come back next year for 2,500. You said it'll be about 500 or so if we continue this. So.
We don't necessarily have to continue after the first year either.
Okay.
So there's nothing that commits us to this forever, but there are levels that are much lower.
But I'm saying don't come back again with 2,500.
Sure.
Okay.
I will let Michelle know that.
Okay, page 388, and I apologize, I don't have the Park and Recs, the numbers on it, but I have their project number, and it is the third item down for $25,000, and it's the PR 2020-006 for $25,000. And that's for the Jefferson Park shoreline cap. And I appreciate all the work that's been done. And a year ago, we secured all the way up to Peanut Island that the original cap, and patched it and welded it. And the crew did a great job on it. And then we installed the first leg of this shoreline cap. And at that time, I had raised many issues about the Canadian geese poop, if you will, their droppings on the shore wall there. And I went out there about once a week this summer and watched to see how that transpired. And I know we had some products we were going to try on that, and at this time, I'll tell you, it's a mess, and I don't know what the answer is, but a lot of staff time. And I talked to the mayor this afternoon about possibly having an electronic device that puts out some sort of a predator call, and maybe that would help. Years ago, we looked at renting out some dogs that would work these flocks so they wouldn't stick around in our parks. Other parks have this problem. Golf courses have this problem. And I'll tell you that people come down on the weekend and see that shoreline all full, and they don't miss too many spots. You can't even walk on it to step around it. There's that much. And where we don't have it, you don't see that problem as much. So I think until we can, and we did this first portion as a test site for the city, and I think it's a great tool. It's great that we have it, but we're not there yet to install the rest of it until we can get this problem under control. And the mayor tells me we have this problem down on the Gilbert site too. So I would like to remove the 25,000 and work with this other test site until we can get this under control. If there's any way we can do that, and then move forward with it. But it doesn't make Menasha look very well, folks. It's a maintenance nightmare, and I think we need a timeout. Push it back a year, see what devices we can use, and let's go from there.
I don't think this affects the levy at all, though, does it, Mayor?
No, this is borrowed funds.
Right. So if we took it out, would it just mean we wouldn't borrow for it for 2021? Yeah, I totally agree with what James is saying. After they did that test thing, I was afraid as they continued it, it would be the same problem. It is. I think it's nice, but it has created a new problem. I wouldn't have a problem with waiting, maybe not necessarily taking it out, but maybe looking down the road to finish this off. Maybe Ted's got more to say being on the park board.
Is that a second?
No, there wasn't a motion. We're discussing.
There was a motion made by Taylor.
He didn't make it as a motion.
And it failed because there wasn't a second.
No, I never heard you actually say, and now I make a motion to remove from project and funding sources of 2021 for the borrowing package. That would have been the motion.
He said remove it.
He was just talking in general.
Well, let's stop this. Is there a motion, James, or not?
No.
I thought I made a motion to remove
Okay, so there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Ted, did you want to comment, or I have a comment too?
Yeah, I'd like to comment. First of all, the shoreline project was not a trail for people to walk on. It was to protect the shoreline from it eroding. It's terrible out there. There's ruts, there's holes, people could trip and fall. I mean, it wasn't made for people to think it was a trail. There's a bike trail a little bit to the other side of that. The budgeted amount that we set for it 3 years ago was like $56,000 because they wanted to put a bridge from Peanut Island on the other end of Peanut Island so people could keep going straight. We said, no, let's take this money and let's fix up the shoreline wall. And I think the Park and Rec Board, I give Thad Brown and his crew and Adam tremendous credit for what they have done. And we got to continue this. And maybe we brushed it off a little bit more than usual. But to take this money and not continue with this project, I think that would be foolish.
I'd like to say, Mayor, that there was $89,000 for that bridge. And yes, we did take the money out and we said, let's use this as let's do the first section and use it as a test site, okay? And again, the crews did a great job and we shored that all the way up down to Peanut Island. So we stopped the infill of a lot of the water. They've secured that cap that's on there. And I did say this was for a walking trail. A lot of fishermen use it. And the trail is within, sometimes 10 feet of this. So it's something that's very visual to people. If you're fishing, the pictures I have, you don't even have pretty much a spot to set your stuff down and fish there. So it's an aesthetic thing. And if people are walking, it's probably a safety thing with all the droppings there. And just saying, we need a timeout. We need to back up here, and let's see if we can get an electronic device on the test site that would keep those have a predator electronic device that might keep these geese off there and maybe out of the park completely. And I think that's something to look at instead of just moving forward and having a serious problem. And it's a little risky too to run a tractor that close to the shoreline with a broom on it, and that shoreline is not a straight. It ebbs and flows throughout the shoreline. Some of those are pretty sharp curves on there. So it's I'm not disagreeing with anything, but it was a test site, and the test site isn't working too good. So let's try to save some dollars as far as salaries or costs on it and equipment, and let's try to take care of the problem because it was a test site. Thank you.
So before we go forward, I wanted to echo Ted's concerns. We have a severe erosion problem there, and there's some severe safety hazards with the number of fishermen with some of the holes that are there. There's trip hazards that you can catch your foot on that metal panel. And we filled that at least 2 or 3 times since I've been mayor, and it washes out within 6 to 8 months. This has been the only thing that has solved that safety problem, and we do need to look at some of those safety issues as well. Stan, you were next.
I was going to say, how do we know that once we put that cap on that it isn't eroding underneath? How far down are they going? Just because you cover the top doesn't mean it's going to be hollow and eroding in there. Like you said, this was kind of a test thing to see how long this would last. And then my second question would be, is 25 enough to finish the project, or because I don't see it moved out any further than 2021, and that's a long stretch, the rest of the park.
I think the next stretch was up to Peanut Island. We had expected it to get somewhere in that general vicinity with that initial money.
Okay.
Tom?
And also,
does someone from Public Works want to comment on what I said about the erosion underneath? Because I thought it was a test project, like James said, so we could see how this is working. And if it's eroded, it erodes underneath, and before you know it, you even got a bigger mess. So,
Ed, did you want to comment on the erosion question before Tom?
Yeah, we dug out.
Can't hear him.
Thad, can you go a little closer to your mic?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Better, but talk loud. We know you can do it.
We did dig down and look to see what we had. The holes that we believe were causing the erosion on the shoreline were higher up, and the concrete is covering most of it, all of it up that we've seen. So we do not believe there's going to be any eroding underneath the concrete. If that was your question, Stan?
Yes, that was my main concern. If we cap this, do we think that we're hiding the problem? Because really, it's always going to be about erosion. And so I thought we did the test one to see how it went, and then we would continue to move down. But then it became like what James said, a bigger problem with the goose droppings everywhere. It's disgusting. I mean, it's really created a situation where the park has become less enjoyable because for some reason they just like to congregate because I suppose it's warm on that concrete and do their business, and it's awful.
And another thing I'd like to say about that is that the park.
Tom
has wanted to speak here and he hasn't gotten a chance yet. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, I think the issue is the erosion, and we are halfway through the most crucial part of the river where the water pounds in. It pounds all the way into Peanut Island. And they've welded those spots to Peanut Island, but the erosion is coming over and kicking back some of that metal already. It needs to be capped. I agree that it's a problem with the geese, but if you get off the trail and walk even in the grass, it's full of goose poop. I don't care. It just shows up better on that concrete. It's everywhere in that park, not just on that shoreline. Walking around looking at sighting trees and stuff with the forestry department, our shoes are covered in poop and we're just walking through the grass. It is everywhere. So I think it's very crucial, and aesthetically, it looks like a job we started and never finished. So how long is that going to sit? I think it's important that it at least capped down to Peanut Island. I feel we're pouring too much concrete, that we can scale this down a bit. And as far as we get, I think pretty much when you get past Peanut Island, there's probably no real need for it, because if you look at the erosion, it's only like not even a foot from the metal capping. So the further you get down river, the slower and the more less force there is on that shoreline, but it needs to be addressed.
James?
Yes, Tom is right. The crews did spend the summer welding and securing that cap and filling the holes in along the shoreline there. And that has helped tremendously with the erosion. But there's safety issues both ways here, and the aesthetics issues. And it's what we should do is maybe have when the CSO doesn't have any calls, what we did years ago, we had a distress call. I think Adam was in charge of it, and they even had some sort of gun that made some noise or something to somebody to keep working these geese. You work them, they'll go somewhere else. And again, I think this was a test site, and we should find some way to fix the goose problem before we go forward, because it doesn't look good for us, folks. It doesn't look good. To say, don't go to Menasha parks here. They're full of goose droppings, and it really stands out on those concrete pads. And like Stan said, the heat is on there, so they like to sit on there because of that heat. So I'm just saying, let's take a time out. It's a good project, but let's take it as it was set up to be a test site. Thank you.
Alderman Nichols?
Thank you. Am I hearing correctly that this 25,000 would get us to Peanut Island?
Thad, is that your opinion?
The 25,000 will get us pretty close to Peanut Island. We do have to also make sure we remember that we did move that trail this year. And we have a lot of landscaping that we have to do with dirt work and grass and everything. And that'll be probably $5,000 worth of dirt going in there.
Okay, thank you for that. I've always gone back and forth with this because it's, to me, such an addition of concrete to the park. At the same time, the park board has supported this, the Common Council as a body has supported this, and so I think it's important that we make sure we get to Peanut Island and do something about this goose problem.
You have something else, James, or can we do a vote?
Go to a vote.
Every Sunday I hear, or Saturday and Sunday, I hear the guns shooting. So I don't know if anyone else hears it.
Can I hear the motion from the clerk, please?
Sure.
The motion I have is to remove 25,000 from the projects and funding sources, and to work with the testing site.
I missed what the project was, Haley.
Projects and funding sources is according to the document you have up on your screen. I don't remember exactly which item it came from.
So it'd be coming out of Jefferson Park Shoreline Cap.
Okay.
Project 2306, it's 3 down. Okay, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Nichols?
Nay.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick?
No.
Alderman Langdon?
Nay.
Alderman Schmidt?
Nay.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Nay.
Ted Grady?
Nay.
Alderman Rapella?
Nay.
Motion fails 1-7.
Stan, can you take over for a second? I need to go use the restroom.
Sure. Sounds like a lot of goats out there. Alderman Taylor, you have something?
Yes. I had contacted quite a few department heads today, and the only one I couldn't get a hold of was the fire department. And I made a couple attempts, and I got the chief's voicemail. And I don't even know if the chief's on here tonight.
I think he is. Chief, are you on?
I am.
Yes, he's on.
Okay, so council, bear with me. I tried to get this stuff done on the phone, and I couldn't do that today. So, Chief, on your page 70, about 3/4 of the way down, 227, cellular telephone, and
Yes.
it's a $4,300 increase in that this year. What is that for?
So the increase for the cell phones is for our MDCs and for the coverage with that and for iPads. And I believe that is also for it may have to do with the firehouse software that we're going to next year that syncs with our iPads. I can double check for you.
Okay.
Also,
And,
keep in mind that this budget is both Nina and Menasha, so.
I know that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you would, of course.
Yeah. And in Menasha, under miscellaneous building maintenance, you have $11,000, and that's on the Menasha side of the budget. And what are we doing for $11,000 this year?
Building maintenance has to do with the supplies to the station. It also has, I'm not sure if that's also something that Adam uses for public works. Is that correct, Adam?
If it's 501, 522, 2403, that would be any repairs and maintenance that we perform for station 35 and 36 would go under that sub account.
This would be the next, is that then right below that, miscellaneous building, Menasha stations, is that, you had $12,902 in that 03 account, and then is this a sub account then below that? Oh, I'm sorry, that was a 2019. Okay, so it is 11,000. And was there any projects for that?
Is that part of, Adam, is that part of the bathroom project yet or not?
No, that's under this capital improvement plan. That would be just general maintenance to the building, plumbing, electrical, HVAC issues that come up for the facilities.
Okay. And then tell me about the shower room, locker room, 50,000.
And I think Adam is working on that as well. I'm not sure. I know it was moved. Is that going to be moved into next year, Adam?
Thad, you out there? He's been more involved lately than I have.
But could you give us a page?
You're gonna try to get me to find that page, aren't you?
Not sure. Is it 71?
No, it's in the CIP.
Oh, in the CIP. Are you on the CIP budget, James?
No, I'm jumping between a few. Page 70 I was on, and then page 665 and page 66.
69 had the 11,000.
The shower remodel for the fire station is on page 278. And that's $50,000. And what we're doing with that shower room is removing tile, repairing. Well, one of the wall in the shower, and it's a 3-gang shower. We're going to 2 shower. We're going to make it ADA compliant. We're looking to add a door out into the hallway, so the shower can be accessed through the hallway instead of having to come through the
living quarters.
The living quarters. So we've gotten pricing, and that's what we're looking at for that side. We also have funds in the budget for the police side, doing something very similar. However, we don't need to, it's my understanding, or don't believe we need to add the cost of a door as well on that side. The space that we're working with is almost identical. So that's what the plan is.
Are you planning to bid that as one project?
Potentially, we haven't really fully discussed that, but chances are, because of the dollar amount, either one, even if we did them separately, but our intent was to try and do them together and look for your, hopefully some economy of scale savings there.
Okay, why would you have to have a shower room ADA compliant if it's for firefighters, and a firefighter has to be at a certain level of performance? So why would that have to be ADA? It's not open to the public.
My understanding is that the intended use of that could change, and therefore when we are making these upgrades, we should make them, that was debatable. We did reach out to the state to try and ascertain if we are actually required to, and I think it was our intention to just do so to make sure we are compliant. How much that adds to it, that I don't know, to be honest with you.
Because we have public restrooms in that building, in the public safety building there, and why would this be open to the public, or what don't we know that's gonna change in the future on this?
Shouldn't change anything.
James, if I can just add something, when I was on my previous board and we did remodeling to the fire station, fire stations have always been used for emergencies, emergency use, any kind of anything where you've got to be putting people up type of thing. We were told at that time when we redid ours that they had to be ADA compliant, because yes, it's a fire station now, but in the event of some type of a disaster, something happening, those buildings can be used to house some people who are out of placement of their homes or whatever for immediate time, for the American Red Cross to come in, things of that nature. So it was my understanding from my previous workings with this kind of thing, that it was, I wouldn't even say that they came right out and said it had to be, but it is in your best interest to do it all ADH, compliant these days.
I didn't get my question answered, and the townships have pole buildings, and we have a super facility here. This is internal in that facility, and our facility does have ADA requirement, and this is for personnel. This is for personnel only.
No, I understand that, and we did not have a pole building. It was a full-fledged building. It was not a pole building.
Well, I was asking the question to the people that are going to do this here, and I haven't got an answer yet. And I apologize that I can't get a hold of people. So I'd like that question answered.
Fire department doesn't have any plans in the future to change anything. I don't know why they're requiring ADA compliance other than it's in that common hallway. But other than that, we don't have plans to change anything up where it would require people to come walking through the locker room area.
Sounds like $50,000 to change a couple stalls over. That's a lot of money, and I'm sure there's a little plumbing with that, but that just seems like a tremendous amount of money here. And I'd like an answer on that, if that has to be ADA or not. I was looking up telephone numbers today and I went to the website, and how much was the brand new kitchen table at Station 32?
James, this isn't.
That was paid.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Are you making a motion regarding something that was in the budget? Because I don't
Mayor,
think that's 2021 budget.
I know it, Mayor, but I'm walking through this, and since I have the chief here, I just had a question. I just like to know what the answer is to that.
You have a quick answer, Kevin?
I do. The table is paid for by the local, so it is not coming from city funded budget.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Kevin, I see we have landscaping trees for $1,000. The city does sell trees, picks up trees for $100. So I hope if we're buying trees, we're getting it from our our forestry department. And what is the outside service account 236?
The outside service account is the fiber optics that go to Station 36 and to Station 31.
Ted, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just wondering, where were these questions when we had the budget workshop, when these budgets were presented? Especially the fire, which, as Alderman Sevnik said, it's split between Menasha and Neenah. And now to drill our fire chief on questions about things that are kind of irrelevant, you're just wasting, I think, people's times. I understand your concerns, but that's why we have the workshops the weeks before. Bring these out at that time. Don't bring it tonight when it's too late.
Hey, buddy, this is the night to do it. This is the night to put the hammer down. We used to call it Piranha night, buddy. That's a workshop. This is real life tonight. Okay. And I'm not wasting anybody's time. Thank you. And I'm not drilling anybody, okay?
Alderman Langdon, did you have something?
Oh, I have a question, Mayor.
No, I'm up to bat. James, you were off. My mic was on. Damn it.
Let's let Mark do something. We can come back to you, James.
It's not $50,000. Last year, I had 25,000. I changed with Kevin the trucks to put that out to 21, 22 to move $25,000 in for the fire station's bathroom that is puke. If you'd go look at it, you'd know it. It's embarrassing for our firefighters to shower in there, and after a firefight, they have to go shower. There's only $25,000 put in on this budget this year. Brings it to $50,000. You remember, think, last year I put in $25,000. It's only $25,000 this year and brings it to $50,000. Thank you.
It's a lot of money. Okay, the two trucks, inspector vehicles, what years are those and what miles are on them?
I believe they're a 2003 and a 2001. I'm not exactly sure of the mileage on them, but they're like 17 and 19 years old.
Okay, and Menasha will get stuck for 40% on that, or roughly 40%?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know if I missed any motions while I was gone, Stan. Was there any votes? No?
No, it's just out of your budget.
Okay, all good.
Okay, Mayor, I would like Jen to tell us where we are with some numbers here.
So far, we have reduced the levy by 12,900.
That's the net number then, Jen, right?
Correct.
Okay. So do you need to change anything, or can we vote on it as amended?
I believe we would probably want to take, if I remember correctly, a short recess, because I would have to make changes to all three of the resolutions.
Okay.
Okay, but I had a question. How far are we off from having a zero increase?
A lot. Jen, do you have that number?
We would have to take about 108,000 off of the levy to match last year's tax rate for Winnebago County.
Okay, and it looks like the city, we're looking for a $20 increase, and the school system's going to give us a $41 increase, and the county's going down. So that's about $60, $60 to the community. And, you know, you keep adding that up year after year, $20 is a lot. Mayor, if we took money out of the general fund to reduce this, what would that do?
It would reduce the levy, but remember that next year you can't do that again. So then you basically have to make up whatever number you applied fund balance double. First get you back up to where you were going to be, and then whatever you're going to add for the following year. So I wouldn't recommend doing that except for a project. If you want to do an additional project, if you want to do an additional street or something that doesn't reoccur every year, you could do that, but not general operating expenses would not be a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, I was going to ask if, you know, of the 27 people that are on, of those who are department heads, if there were things that after we had our budget meeting, if they saw something that could be changed or needed to be changed. I'm sure you probably took care of that already with Jennifer, but is there anything else out there that you found?
I believe the only thing that we really found was the code enforcement.
And we took care of that last budget.
You hear anything else, Jen?
No.
Any of the other department heads have something that we missed? Please speak up now. They're really 27. I don't have a number on mine for some reason.
Yeah, there's 27 people, it says here.
There it is. Okay. Doesn't look like anyone else has comments. James, did you have another comment?
I just was wondering what upgrade to the vehicles of the fire department we're having that, I think those are cars. Are they staying with the trucks?
Those vehicles will be they're not pickup trucks, but they'll be an SUV type vehicle. So they have all the supplies for fire investigations, or the gear and all the other testing equipment they need at a structure fire. And then those would have, because the inspectors use them during the day, they're out and about. If they get a call, they still respond with those vehicles. So they do have the radio lights and sirens in them.
Okay, is that the vehicle, that little Saturn car that I see around town?
Correct. It would be similar to that, yes.
And why don't we stay with, let's say, go to electric car and stay with a car?
I'm not sure what I'm not sure why we're a car. We wouldn't be able to hold all the equipment in a car, so that's why they stuck with an SUV type vehicle.
Okay, so the cars that we have now aren't adequate. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, those work just fine for what we need.
So why aren't we going to why aren't we staying with a car then if we had cars?
We don't have, right now we don't have a car. We're going to purchase something similar to what we have, a smaller SUV or Saturn-like vehicle.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
In the library's budget, what was their increase for the year?
Very little. Vicky, do you have that number?
I see VL up there, so.
She is here. They also saw an increase in their revenue that came from the counties.
There she is.
So net was, I don't remember what net was, but it wasn't much.
So the revenue from the county increased by $32,540. The revenue from the city will increase by $35,471.
Okay. Kind of the same thing that I was talking about with the senior center. We all know that people are using, because we have such a quality library, they're coming to Menasha from elsewhere out in the boonies, I'll call it. But yet we're the ones as taxpayers that have to foot this bill. And earlier today, we had a person from the public that suggested taking, I think she said take 50,000 out, or was she saying there was 50,000 in that budget for I think it was, I wrote down circulations or something.
It's for the book budget, the materials budget.
And where is that? What number?
It's 30-14.
What page? I thought I had the right page.
It's page 159.
Yeah. Say that number again.
159, and the sub line is 34.
14.
30-14.
Okay.
So it's right here.
So you got basically 200,000 in there.
Right.
I mean, what?
So I guess the other thing that the council might want to be aware of is what we do get from the counties, and that's 600,000 in. You had that number, Vicky?
So you spent 200, you were budgeted though 195, or wait, budget was 212, you spent 195.
This
And
year, The
This
budget
year-
for this year is 212, and we'll spend 212. For next year, it's $12,000 less.
That's what I see.
The mayor decreased
How about-
it.
You know what I was gonna do? I was gonna make a small reduction, but seeing that it is already reduced, and I want Sandra to know that it was reduced, by about 12,000?
Right.
That I'm not gonna make any motion.
So Vicky, what is that number from the counties? Is it 588? Rings a bell to me. Is that what it
Right.
is?
All of the counties combined, their part of the budget for next year is going to be $588,208.
So that's what comes from outside the city to run the library.
Right.
Yeah. It's not much, but anyways, thank you, Vicky.
Vicky? Oops.
Yes.
I see that up to whatever, 220 year to date. So as of like November 1st, you've spent 109,000. What do you propose in the next 60 days that you're going to spend another 103,000 on?
That isn't a current number. I think I submitted this more toward the middle or August of the year. And we have things on order that will get up right up until the end of the year. They plan this out very well. They spend every last dollar. I'm sure it'll be like $212,000 and $5 or something. They're very good at hitting it right on the head.
So are they ordering like more books or what?
Books, DVDs, audio books. This year we invested a lot in digital materials because the use of our digital materials is up 25%. So now we have Canopy, it's online video. And we also purchased the New York Times online because people couldn't come in and read newspapers. And we've been responding to requests like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Alderman Nichols?
Thank you. Director Lenz, I just wanted to focus on that money that you get, the funds that you get from the counties. Every year, those funds are based on usership in those counties, correct?
It's a formula. So it's based on how much circulation goes to people in the outlying areas in those counties. And it's also based on the library's cost per circ. So that's going to save us next year because circ is really down, but because it's really down, our cost per circ is really high. So it's not going to affect that formula that much.
Okay. I just wanted to point out that it is based on usership
Right.
or circulation from residents of those areas.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
So Mayor, we have about roughly a 1% increase. What do we have, Jennifer? And if you consider the fact, go ahead, Jennifer.
0.94.
So if you consider the fact that we gave our employees a 2% raise, and we'll be giving possibly with our future vote, police a future raise, I think that's pretty good. I think we did a pretty good job.
So
I should say the administration did a pretty good job. We did some minor tweaking here and there, and that's about it. I'm not really proud of that, but they come in with a pretty bare bones budget. And that's why I asked the question, if there are any department heads out there that, you know, you found out something, but, oh, I might want to keep it in there, you know, let us know, because we're the ones, all of us here that are council members, we live in this city. We pay those taxes. We pay your salaries, and you get paid very well. Whether the city attorney likes me to not say that or not, we do. And not only that, but you get a very good roll-up package that comes along with your jobs. So I just want to say, I think, I know James was concerned about that increase, but it's barely a 1% increase. And I've been on the council where, it was even more than that. And I made cut after cut and no one agreed, So if someone made a cut tonight and it didn't go through, no biggie. I mean, in the past, it was like James described, we used to have what was called Piranha Night. You just don't see that anymore because the budgets that come in are pretty bare bones. So I'm going to say it one more time. If there's something out there, let us know because we'd like to keep our tax rate as low as possible.
So I got a couple more people that are wanting to speak. Alderman Nichols.
Director, thank you, Mayor. Director Sassman, I think you mentioned that 12,000 some dollars were reduced tonight thus far.
12,900.
Find another 100.
Well, I just wanted to point out that if someone felt very strongly that that the cat lift was important, there's dollars available to put that back in the budget on the levy.
Ed? Did you have something regarding?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, yes or no?
Excuse me? I'm going to talk a little bit here, and that won't be long. Since I've been elected alderman, you look at your equalized tax rate in the last 5-6 years, it is going down. You look at our assessed tax rate for the last couple of years, it is going down. But yet, people of the city want the services to go up. They want their sidewalks and their streets shoveled and their leaves picked up, and they want everything done. And they think it's free. Well, it's not. Of course, Menasha has a little higher tax rate than Neenah and Appleton, but it's not apples to apples. Menasha has its own utility plant. Our rates, utility-wise, are much cheaper than other residents. There's other variables here. So I appreciate and I applaud Sandra Taylor for coming on for all these calls. But my gosh, that's only one outside citizen for the city of Menasha. That, I'm sorry, is terrible. If other people felt that bad, they should get on board too. And I applaud Sandra for what she does. And I know that she's comparing us to other cities. And we're doing the best we can. As Council President Severnick has stated many times, we're looking at ways to cut costs. And tonight, maybe we didn't cut a lot of money. But you look at some of the things that we've done through the years, promote within. We have a new director. We have a new city clerk. We have a new finance manager, all promoted within, all saving close to $60,000, $70,000 in salaries. So there's other things that we're doing that's positive. And I just do not like the fact that certain individuals can come on and just make us feel like we're not doing our job. And I don't appreciate that. And I wish as things progress and things go on, there's more debate type programs maybe that we can have where people can come to City Hall when this COVID's over and we can talk to people and let them know what we're up against. But I'm gonna get off my box right now, but I agree. We are doing the best we can. And I think the tax increase for what little it is well justified for the taxpayers of Menasha.
Good job, Ted.
Alderman McCullough.
Thank you, Mayor. So our assessed tax rate went up 0.94, 0.94.
No, that was our levy increase.
So what would be our increase, our assessed tax rate? What would that be? What would it go up?
Before tonight, for Winnebago, it was 9.7766. And I believe we took a penny off of the tax rate. with our reductions this evening.
So it went up 9.76%.
No. Our tax rate for Winnebago County is 9.7766. And after the reductions tonight, that took a penny off of that tax rate.
Okay, so please, I'm going to ask you again because I don't understand it. All right, what would our assessed tax rate? How much would it increase from last year to this year?
11 cents for Winnebago County.
It would go up 11 cents?
Yes.
Okay, well then I want to applaud us because the city to the south is going up 3.6% and the city to the north is going up 5.1%, and we're only going up 11 cents. So kudos to us.
Thanks, Randy. James?
Yeah, I thought this year with the finance director stepping down and the park director stepping down and the city clerk stepping down, that we'd have some savings. And also with the COVID, with the senior center shutting down, and we should have left the swimming pool shut down because we only had 4,000 people there. We could have saved a lot of money with a pandemic. And with all those people, we put together.
James, you went off.
Yeah, that keeps happening. I don't know why my mic keeps getting shut off. So the senior center, the swimming pool, I think we should have left that closed. We had a lot of savings. We only had 4,400 people there. And it just wasn't smart government. And it went against the safety rules of the COVID. Also with the library and the park programs, I thought we would have had a better savings this year for the community. We know a lot of people have lost their
James, are you still speaking? Your mic says it's on, but you can't.
Yeah, I don't know why my screen went back to, let's see.
Okay, you're back now.
Oh, there we are. Okay, I don't know, okay. And I just thought that we'd have better savings for the community, especially with so many people out of a job during this pandemic. And it was always just, I thought we could just keep it about where we were last year. And appreciate everybody's help, and thank you.
Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. If there's no other discussion, I would like to move for a 10-minute recess so Director Sassman can change the numbers in the resolutions, and then we can move forward.
That's what I was just going to ask for as well. So is that
Mayor, I just have a quick question. Did you want to make that change to TIF 11? I know it's not a levy fund, but it would be part of the second resolution.
So there is a item that's in the CIP that was not listed in the HTE portion of the budget.
The fountain?
The fountain, it probably, if we approve the CIP, it's technically there, but if you want to have Jennifer update the page that has that in TIF 11, we can do that. If someone wants to make that motion.
The other TIF needs to be, that TIF 82 needs to have that.
Well.
That, okay. Yeah, that's not going to change the budget.
It will not change the levy, no.
Was the TIF 8 the 100,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you want to make that, did someone want to make it as a motion?
I'll make a motion that we change the two TIFs, the TIF 8 to 100,000, and what was the other TIF?
TIF 11 to add 15,000. I guess it wouldn't be to add to.
I thought, yeah.
Note.
The fountain.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
1 second.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on those two corrections?
I just had one thing. I was paging through the CIP and I did see the Racine Street Bridge amenities in TIF 8 for $100,000, if that's what we're referring to.
That's the same thing.
But it did not make it on page 288. I just happen to have it open there.
Okay,
It should be on
Okay.
that page as well. So
Okay.
it's in the CIP, it's just not in the detail pages.
great. Thank you.
Haley, did you want to take a roll call vote?
Alderman Nichols,
Aye.
Alderman Taylor,
No,
Alderman Sevenick,
Aye.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Repella.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-1.
And if we have
Move for
nothing,
10-minute recess, Mayor.
is that enough time, Jen?
Yes, it is.
They usually
Okay.
go long.
We
Randy
will-
will listen.
We will come back at about 9:22.
Okay.
Good
thank
job,
you.
Mayor. 9:22.
All right.
I got my
Hey,
mic.
James,
Make sure my budget. My mic is off.
What's her name, Pam or Sam? Oh, that's.
That's James's cat.
Oh, I see. I saw SS and thought it was Sam Schrader. That's a big
That's
fluffy cat.
That's Andre. He just jumped up here. He wants me to take him out for his outside walk.
Oh, nice.
Randy, you might get some golf in at the end of the week, maybe.
Might be Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday and maybe Friday even, it looks like.
13 all. Vikings are tied with the Bears. Start of the
Thursday
fourth
night.
quarter.
What's the score?
13-13. Start of the fourth quarter.
Wow. Where's that being played?
I believe in Chicago.
Outside.
Hey, James, that cat, is that your mother-in-law's cat? Or is this
Yeah,
a
when
different
she
cat?
passed- No,
Okay.
when she passed away. We inherited a cat. Yeah.
Wonder if
I
we
know
could have the cats chase down the geese.
There you go.
There you
Take
go.
the walk on the trail.
I thought by letting dogs walk on the trail with their owners, it would help keep the geese away, but
I was doing that, but it started getting cold. I stopped going out there.
yeah.
Tell them used to take Max or let Max run after them all.
9:22. We should be ready to rock and roll.
I'm ready.
You are ready. Okay.
I don't see the mayor though. Where is he?
Oh, I didn't
Here.
turn I turned my mic on, but not my camera. Hold on. I need to let
He's in the
Jen
cloud.
screen. Okay.
So we are on Art 3520.
Nope. 30,
Oh.
yes. Yeah, I just didn't have the right one on the screen. So
Okay.
for our 3520, the changes that have, I'll give you guys the changes and then you can go ahead and make your motions. So what changed in this one is the first paragraph. We are subtracting 12,900 from the levy amount. So that makes that 11,699,262.24. And then at the bottom here, we're taking that same amount off of the total, which includes all of the levies from the taxing entities. So that brings that amount to 31,985,641.45. So those were the two changes to that resolution.
So at this point, we already have a motion to approve that resolution. I don't know who it was from way back when.
It was Becky.
Becky and Ted. So now we're making that motion as amended, and that's what Jen just showed us was the amendments. And if there's no other discussion, we can take a roll call vote.
Is this as amended, Mayor, or just?
This is as amended, yes.
Mayor, could Director Sassman email us a copy of the resolutions as corrected? Just so we have them.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing nothing, hearing nothing else, I guess, could we have a roll call vote then as amended?
Alderman Nichols?
Aye.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ropella?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
And resolution 36, Jen, if you want to pull that one up.
So this resolution approves the budgets in all funds. So the changes that were made to this one, the general fund amount changed. That was lowered by 6,500. The recycling budget changed. That was lowered by 6,400. The capital improvements amount right here, that was lowered by both the 3,000 and the 18,500. TIF 8, we added the 100,000 to that dollar amount. TIF 11, we added 15,000. Down to the stormwater utility, we subtracted the 8,145. That was in connection with the very first motion. And then IT, that amount changed as well. So that changed our grand total for all of the budgets to 39,559,634.
Does anyone have any questions for Jen on that? Otherwise, if we could have a motion by someone to approve that? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move to approve R 3620, a resolution of the City of Menasha adopting its general special revenue capital projects, debt service, enterprise, and internal service funds and component unit 2021 budgets.
And that would be as amended as well. If you just want to make sure you have that included in the motion, Haley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Alderman Ted Grady. Any discussion on that one? Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Nichols?
Aye.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Rapella?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0.
Item number 4 is resolution 37. You want to go through that one too, Jen?
Sure. This resolution sets our borrowing for 2021 projects. However, keep in mind that this doesn't lock in this amount nor the projects. It just sets that borrowing, and then once we get to that point, we would bring that back to the council. So this is a resolution that we do every year at this time as well. So what changed on this one is the amount right here. We took 21,500 off of that, bringing that down, and then it also changes the amount in the last paragraph as well.
It was the first number, the 1.6 number, right? That changed?
Yes, correct. And
You were
then
circling the 1.2 number, so.
yeah, and then the last paragraph, that amount changed as well because that's the total of the two debts.
Sure. Okay. Is there a motion? Alderman Nichols, Alderman Sevenick, either?
Go ahead, Alderman Nichols, if you want.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve Resolution 3720, the resolution authorizing 2021 general obligation borrowing and the issuance of certificate of indebtedness and levying a tax in connection therewith as amended.
Is there a second?
Ted's been seconding, so
I'll second.
There's a second by Alderman Rapella, I guess.
I'll third it.
Okay. Any further discussion on that one? No? We could have a roll call then, please.
Alderman Nichols?
Aye.
Alderman Taylor?
Aye.
Alderman Sevenick?
Aye.
Alderman Langdon?
Aye.
Alderman Schmidt?
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady?
Aye.
Alderman Rapella?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-1.
Oops. I always forget how to turn
Screen back.
my screen back on. Okay. Item 5 is ordinance 9. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Sevenick?
thank you. I'll make a motion for ordinance 09-20. The ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances oh, wait a minute. I withdraw. I withdraw.
Okay.
Someone else can make the motion.
I'll make it. I'll make the motion for 0-09-20. It's an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances for the mayor and the common council.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion, a second. There was a question about when this starts, and the term means in April. So these would be from April through April, basically, starting in 2021. If that helps clarify that a little bit further. Any other discussion? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just point out what I pointed out in committee 2 weeks ago. Nina aldermen get paid $5,280 annually. Their population is 26,000. Appleton aldermen get paid $5,805 with a population of 75,000. And Menasha aldermen get paid $5,190 with just a population of 18,000. So given that, I think we fall right in line dollar-wise, population-wise, maybe not so much, but I will not support this ordinance.
Alderman Langdon?
Yeah, you can't really go by that. Nina has 2 aldermen per district. Appleton, I think they have 20, 25, 26 aldermen for the city. So you can't go by that. So I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Alderman Taylor?
You know, back in the 80s or 90s, we didn't have a raise for 8 years. And then we brought the council up to where we thought it should be. And then we had it automatic for a while. And then 17 years ago, it fell off. And everybody finally caught up to Menasha is what it was. These other cities, Nina was down around 3,000 something. And they were just, again, afraid to give themselves raises. And Appleton and Nina came up to where Menasha was. So they followed us with this. And for 17 years, it's ridiculous. The mayor said he knows where to get signs cheaper. Well, my signs, they said $18. They're a larger sign. And they're not your standard little small sign. And the ink I use costs more and everything. So, you know, everything has increased. And it's nice to offset some of our re-election costs for our campaigns. And we have nothing to be ashamed of here. And frankly, a lot of us, Alderman Rapella and Langdon and myself, Tom Grady, we don't get this until we get reelected sometime in 2022. So it's not giving yourself an instant raise here either. So just giving you a little history, how everybody finally caught up to Menasha.
Alderman Rapella?
I'm sorry, I want to take James said it all. Thank you, James.
Okay.
Mayor?
Alderman Sevenick? Sure.
The only the issue I have is that it's introduced by the personnel committee. It cannot be introduced by a committee. It can only be introduced by an alderman or a mayor. So
And-
someone has to be the sponsor.
And who was the sponsor? Was it James or Mark? I forget who.
Oh, it was you and Mark.
Mark, was that true?
I think it was James.
Mark is shaking his head yes. So do you want to be the sponsor along with me? Your mic's off, Mark.
Yes, I will.
Okay. So
Oh, yeah, I already
Maybe-
said that. I already said that, last time
I just
down,
wanted to make sure my memory was correct.
that I would sponsor with you, yes.
Okay, so Haley, if you could add my name and Alderman Langdon's name to that when we create the final copy.
Certainly.
Is there any other discussion? If not, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Nichols,
Nay.
Alderman Taylor,
Aye.
Alderman Stefanik,
Nay.
Alderman Langdon,
Aye,
Alderman Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderman Tom Grady,
Aye.
Alderman Ted Grady,
Nay.
Alderman Rapella,
Your mic's not on, Randy.
Nay.
there's a tie. Mayor Marcus,
So I will vote aye. And James, I still believe I can find you yard signs cheaper than that. So talk to me when you're up for election.
Will work for you.
motion carries 5-4.
I buy them right here in the valley in Nino, so I
I
buy
buy
them.
mine in Menasha. So anyhow, item O is public comments. Is there anyone who wishes to make comments from the public? Sandy?
Hi there. 3.5 hours later, I'm still here. So I will limit my comments to the budget. First of all, I strongly suggest that next year the workshops be extended to 4 days. 3 days, there's just too much information to go through. People get tired. And after a while, you're just kind of passing it off and wanting to go home. Community development was really cut short. And that alone could have taken a whole night by itself. So that's my first comment. Secondly, I'm not surprised with the outcome. That's what I pretty much expected, but I thought if any year that a reduction in the levy could have taken place would have been this year, because almost every department had a surplus and they admitted it. Almost every department had a surplus, and instead of applying that surplus to the future budget, they decided to keep it and still budget for new items. So that's where my disappointment comes. One of the examples I tried to make was with the library, and we all love the library. They have a surplus, but yet they still wanted to budget $200,000 for new materials, just the books. This isn't salaries or anything else. I simply wanted to reduce that by 50,000, and they still would have came ahead, and that didn't fly. I wanted to transfer, which would not have affected the levy, $10,000 out of the regional partnership to apply to existing debt that we have, and that didn't even fly. I wanted to eliminate the Wisconsin Bike Federation, a small amount, but it seems those feathers in the mayor's cap are more important than reducing debt. And I could go on. If you add it up, I'm comparing this to years past, way back when my husband used to be on the council. Motions were made that the council would not receive meals, especially during budget. There were limitations on reimbursement for mileage and travel expenses if it was within, I think, 10 miles of the city of Menasha. Staff members would not be reimbursed. There were a lot of restrictions made at that time, and some called it low-hanging fruit, but they were still made to try to cut all those little expenses. I think Alderman Taylor brought up at one of the workshops, if you start adding up all the meals and mileage and travel, especially this last year that was budgeted and not spent, there's a lot of surplus just in that realm. So I'm disappointed. I know that you kind of congratulated yourself on keeping it as low as you did and comparing it to the other communities, but those other communities budgeted for libraries, they budgeted for parking ramps, they budgeted for $8 million for a major park renovation. So they had big ticket items in their budget. We're just kind of keeping status quo and we still cannot reduce it. The one thing that I didn't find in the budget was while it appears you're using TIF 8, which is the Headwaters project, which for years, well, it started out actually being in bankruptcy and it finally is catching on. Now we're going to take those funds for the bridge enhancements, but I didn't see anything in there for hazard pay for the poor people that live in the headwaters. I would like each and every one of you to go down, stand next to the headwaters condominiums anytime during the week and just see what those people are living with right now. And the same could go for Riverway. It's terrible, the noise, and this project is just started. I can't imagine that they're not pulling their hair out or jumping off the balconies. So anyhow, just to wrap it up, I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed because I thought you really had an opportunity. And I do compare us to other communities because unlike other communities, such as Neenah, they don't have a health department. They work with Winnebago County, and yet their schools were open the majority of this whole pandemic. They also have over $1 million that they receive from pilot payments, including nonprofits such as Goodwill, that Menasha doesn't get. Their library also collects stipends from Calumet County and their surrounding counties. So there's a lot of things that we need to look at, and you need to, and I strongly suggest that the budget next year, somebody look at the Neenah and the Potch Crossing budget. It's simple to read, easy to follow, and basically it answered questions I had with the Menasha budget, especially when it came to the fire department and those joint services. You could go there and find out what was being budgeted and what was being done rather than looking at the Menasha budget because it's all over the place. So I do appreciate your efforts, and I know that it's a hard job, and it's a thankless job. But I am disappointed because you might not think it's much, but you start adding this up over, you're looking at what, $10, $15 for a $100,000 house. Well, most of you, that's probably fine, but the higher up you go, it's more. And then you start adding in the school district, the county, the technical college, and everything else. We're still in debt. The steam plant sale is not materializing. A lot of our TIFs are stagnant. It's something seriously has to be done, and it doesn't seem like that's the agenda. Thank you for your time.
And I do not see anyone else that wishes to speak at this time. So if there is a motion to adjourn, I would accept that.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
The motion by Alderman Schmidt and a second by Alderman Langdon. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned then. Thank you. Mark, are you doing okay? Do you need to leave? I saw you called me, so.
Yeah, he called me. He needs to lay down.
So Mark, would you like us to go to the Public Works